Hello everyone, and welcome back to more of the Anime Villainous Tournament arc of 2023. I'm Chaos in the Sky, and today we'll be jumping back up to the top of the bracket to see Kidjays against Koretex. The winner of this match will be going up against Wako in round 2, so let's see how it plays out. We are rolling the dice for Koretex and Kidjays, and it looks like Koretex has won the dice roll. So he will be picking his ban first as the starting player. Much excitement. Searching through his draft deck and figuring out who he doesn't want to see in this first game where they're going to be doing a blind pick against one another. And we have the first ban is Tetsuo, interestingly enough. Okay. Seeing Tetsuo bans. Not who I would expect to see is the upfront ban, because he can be a little bit difficult to learn and use. Although now that I think about it, I believe that Kidjays might have Tetsuo as his main on the server, so maybe that had some influence. And then Kidjays is going to be banning Light. Pretty popular ban. We've seen a handful of people ban Light, as he can be a very dangerous opponent, as can anyone in Annaville. But Light is one that people perhaps don't have quite as figured out yet and want to ban and just not have to deal with him instead of learn exactly how to counter. So now they're both going to be picking who they play as, which will not be Light nor Tetsuo, and we're going to see Kidjays playing Gendo and Koretex playing Father. So another Father being played. Father seems to be a very popular pick for the tournament arc thus far, but we have not seen Gendo until now, which I am very, very interested to see how Kidjays does piloting him, because Gendo is probably one of my more favored characters to play. I really like playing as Gendo. He's definitely up there for me. Maybe not like in the very top of my rankings, but he's definitely in the mid-tier at worst. So it's going to be very exciting to see how that goes, as we have not yet seen a Gendo game. And this is the 5th match? I'm trying to do some mental arithmetic in my head. I believe this is the 5th game. 5th game and no Gendo yet. So this will be the first one to see. Who else? We haven't seen Loxus yet, I believe. I think it might just be those two. I think we've seen at least one game of everyone else. I feel like I'm definitely forgetting one other character, but I could be wrong. So, Kidjays here is going to be drawing 4 cards, as you can see, because the way Gendo's ability works with mulligans and whatnot is that he draws 4 additional cards after doing his mulligan. So he will first choose to mulligan those 4 cards, then he gets to draw 4, which after his mulligan, then he gets to draw his extra 4 for the start of the game. It's a little confusing, but that's how mulligans work, and those are the rules. So Kidjays will be going second, Koretex will be going first, Father versus Gendo. It's the battle of the bad dads. I wonder if they planned that at all. We're gonna see two Fathers that aren't exactly the best. And Father's going straight to Xerxes to gain 3 and spin 2 on Lust immediately. We're also going to see Gluttony come out. Okay, 2 strong allies right again. Well, not strong necessarily, but two useful allies. Gluttony getting, he's not going anywhere because of his ability, getting ready for Pride potentially come out later, and Lust to be of any use whatsoever with gaining power with any allies she can hang out with. Gonna see Gendo going to Tokyo 3 to immediately hit a Fate on Father, which is going to be Armstrong and Hohenheim. Not the ideal pair to see together, both very strong heroes. Hohenheim blocking items and being 4 strength, while Armstrong can very easily be 5 strength. And we're going to see Hohenheim played to cover Lior and block that top Fate, very understandable, wanting to just immediately get started on hampering Father's Fate pressure, as he is quite skilled at making use of Fate pressure. Ooh. Must have been a little misclick. Accidentally split the deck when trying to search it, I believe is what happened there. While trying to use... There we go, yeah. Playing Fruit of Knowledge to look at the top 6 cards of the deck, discard any, and return the rest of the top in any order. Just a small misclick there. Happens to the best of us. We're going to see Kidjays setting his deck a little bit. Gendo has got to dig pretty quick to get his hands on Adam so that he can begin his showdown phase. We're going to see him discard Ava 01 and Ava 02. And not 02, Ava 00, my bad. 007? I don't remember how to pronounce this Ava. But that is going to be the end of Father's turn, and we're going to see, or not Father, Gendo, they're both dads. We're going to see Father go over to Fort Briggs, discard some trash that he doesn't want to have to put up with, and also most likely looking to make use of his bottom Fate. Gaining that 1 power and potentially spending it on Greed, okay. And he's not setting himself up to deal with Hohenheim, he's instead going hard for that first token, Very understandable. A red alert and synchro failed. Very interesting. Red alerts you typically always want to play. However, we could see Kidjays pulling out. I was thinking similarly, might be worth going for synchro failed here, because a red alert is just asking to be struck by a, whatever it is that it's called, by a third impact, the card that kills them for free. We're going to see Gendo actually going straight to Terminal Dogma to keep that fate pressure on strong. Umbra Circle is a dead fate here, so we're going to see Ling Yao coming out. Where is he going to be blocking? He's going to be blocking Xerxes to stop the double play. Ooh, or Central City. Stop that gain 2 and stop allies from moving, but in the end he decides blocking the double play and the gain 3 at the gain 3 location is more worth his time, not wanting Father to be able to make good use of that. Gendo did also get a little lucky here. Oh, we're seeing Misato played out to Command Center. Very interesting. Very interesting. But losing that red alert early without it really accomplishing anything is actually pretty good for Gendo. If he can potentially get at him quickly and do a little bit of a blitz, especially with the top fate covered, he can really he can blitz his objective much faster than Father can, because Father, while having good fate pressure, is one of his weaknesses as a character is that his objective, it takes some time, which is why his showdown goes by so fast. We're going to see a true alchemy used to move greed, and then the normal move action to move gluttony, and with their powers combined, murder Hohenheim. Very understandable, getting that top fate open back up, shuffling back into true alchemy. That's a true gamer right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we love to see in this house. I respect anyone that shuffles back in true alchemy. There are niche scenarios where you can discard it, but 9 times out of 10, in my world, you throw True Alchemy right back in there. We're going to see Gendo going and gaining 3, spending 1 on nerve tanks and 2 on nerve artillery, setting himself up with some allies, no children yet, and also has already discarded 2 of his Avas, probably planning to get them back with Ava Cage later. This top fate open, Father's going right there. The second he has the opportunity, he's like, I'm in this. This is what I'm talking about. This is what he's looking for. The Flask! The most disrespected of all Father items has been played before any of the others, and we're seeing a True Alchemy get shuffled in, and then we're going for that Fate action. Another Red Alert! Ooh, that hurts. Especially after having passed up the first one. This is actually a very lucky bit for Gendo here, I would say. The Synchro failed, is not going to be able to do too much with nerve tanks and artillery already set up to defeat an Angel as soon as it comes out. And we're actually going to see Mass Production Ava to block the top fate rather than play Red Alert, which honestly, I kind of see as a fair play. You really want to play those top fate, or those Red Alerts with Gendo, but he's still got, it might not be in his hand yet, but he's got it coming up at least. The third impact. Ooh, double auto mail. Double auto mail. I mean, you know, it's not a bad fate necessarily, but definitely would rather have a pretty good hero to get back to cover in that top fate and whatnot right there. But Ling Yao is not in any immediate threat, so the whatchamacallit, I'll say it again in a second, the automail might prove troublesome at any time. We're going to see Legacy of Gahern played, probably looking to get his hands on Adam using it, and that will be the end of Kidjay's turn. We're back over to Koretex. Debating what he wants to do. Everything costs 1 more now, thanks to Automail. He's going to be going to Fort Briggs and throwing down the Philosopher's Stone on Lust, which I don't think he could do, actually, because I believe that costs 3 and he spent 2 on it. But Automail is in play. And I believe our judge actually died. But thankfully, Falk is here to judge in his place. So Falkion will handle it for us. Hopefully. Okay, and I think we're back in. Butter had a small internet hiccup. As our main judge, we gave him a minute to get back in. He was able to rejoin right back. And we're going to, I believe it is still Koretex's turn, according to the clock. So he's deciding what to do after realizing that he cannot play the Philosopher's Stone due to automail on Ling Yao. Well, that was a little bit of lag for me there. What the heck? Fruit of Life in AT Field. That is a dead fate. It is, Gendo has not cared about these fates much at all. They have done very little to him. However, getting through this fate deck in a timely manner is very important to Father, even if it leads to dead fates, because he needs to be able to hit more red alerts when Gendo gets Adam underway. So any amount of continuing this cycle is very useful for Father. Sorry, something in my esophagus there. My bad. But very, very good to make sure that he can get to a reshuffle with 2 red alerts already in the discard pile. Definitely wants to be able to take advantage. Are we going to see Adam come out here? No, we're not. Just setting up even more tanks. When you don't have enough 14-year-olds around to fight the, like, evil creature alien, space aliens, they're from space, right? In Evangelion, I'm pretty sure they are. They, like, came from a meteorite or whatever Adam was, and then they were born from him, or born from Lilith, one or the other. But when you don't have a bunch of 14-year-olds to handle it, what better than just a metric butt ton of tanks, am I right? We also see Sector Lockdown. And Butter has died again. And we're back once again. Butter lives. The internet issue he was having was a 2-parter, but I believe he has assured us that it will not be a trilogy, so we should not have another one coming up. We're going to see Sloth played for 2 to immediately vanquish Ling Yao, get that automail out of there as it was causing him a lot of issues, shuffling Sloth right back in. Great thing to see Sloth be able to do. He's really good at defending areas or coming out immediately, much like Greed, and just being used to vanquish so that he can then come again later, given that you are unable to move him from whatever location he's sat at. And that is going to be the end of Koretex's turn. So we're back over to Gendo here, who is amassing a small army, going over to Command Center to gain 2 and do some other shenanigans. He's still got 14 cards in his deck. We're going to see Ritsuko come out here to make those activates much stronger, and then he's going to use Misato with the activate to play Asuka, which will then have him draw 2 cards. Not going to accomplish much as he'd draw 2 at the end of his turn anyway, but Ritsuko's effect can come in very helpful later in other activate scenarios. And then Father, not a fan of this, going over to Lior, spending all 3 of his power to get Pride out there with Lust and Gluttony. He's got the Pride-Gluttony combo set up, although Mustang could come at any time. And he's very well set to activate a Starter War, and he's shuffling 1 back in, even though he's very well set for a Starter War next turn. He would have to move to his game 3 and just do that. We're going to see him fading again, definitely once again, just doing his best to make sure that this Fate deck is ready for a reshuffle since 2 red alerts passed so early. We're going to be seeing Sector Lockdown shuffled back in, as I believe it was the only target for Seal Interference, and I've already forgotten what that other card was. I think it was AT Field, which had no target, and that will be the end of Father's turn. After... Oh, he's using Flask. He's at Flasks. Not Fask. What is that? It's like I tried to say Wilson Fisk, but got it wrong. Using Flask's ability, which lets him do a little discard at the end there. I promise I can talk. I just got done with the 4-hour stream, but I'm doing my best. We're going to see Nerve Artillery moved over to Command Center, probably to get rid of this mass production Ava at some point. And we're also going to see Purpose of Nerve. I really am dying today. Oh, look, lo and behold, there's Mustang. But also Edward at the same time, which is very unfortunate. But definitely, we're going to see Mustang come out here and just absolutely slaughter Pride into oblivion, immediately killing that combo just as it came into existence. Unfortunately for Koretex, he would have loved to have been able to keep Pride for at least another turn or 2 to try and make use of his impressive power for a war to be started before Mustang showed up and took him out. Is there... I thought they might have been doing something over there. It should be Koretex's turn. His clock is ticking, so he's thinking. If there was something going on, they would have paused the clock. I should have realized that. Fort Briggs, moving over there to gain 1, keep that fate pressure. Again, it's very... I cannot stress enough. I'm sounding like a broken record, but I cannot stress enough. He's got to make sure that he can get to a reshuffle on Gendo before Gendo can play Adam and start blitzing through all of the angels since 2 red alerts have already passed. We are going to see Sloth played, lined up very nicely to deal with Mustang, as well as benefit from Lust. I believe in that case you could even overkill with Gluttony to get some bonus with Lust, which is actually a play I had never considered until just now, that even if you don't need Gluttony in a Vanquish, you could just do it for the sake if Lust is there to gain an extra power. Something for me to remember myself in the future. There's the last red alert with committee meeting. Are we going to see 3 red alerts passed by on Gendo, which would be truly hilarious? No, we are not. No, we are not. I'm going to be honest, I probably would have skipped on the red alert again there with the reshuffle not too far off. I probably... Ooh, Armisail, a 5-strength angel. That's going to be rough for Gendo. Even if he can 3rd impact him, it can get put back with Fruit of Life later. Always a pain for Gendo whenever he sees a 5-strength or come around, as there are only 3 of them out of the 15 cards. And then I believe it's 6 4-strength and 6 3-strength following that. Oh, a scheme is being resolved. The Legacy of Gahern is being resolved because an Angel was played. I thought that, yeah, I got confused by the clock being stopped. My mistake, my mistake. Oh. Oh, he had to reveal to make sure that it was that he got a form and an item. I see. The judge was telling him you have to show the card, you can't keep it secret because otherwise you might have accidentally cheated. Or it wouldn't be accidental if you cheated at that point, but just to make sure everything is on the up and up. So he did grab Adam with that, as we saw, which means we will be seeing Adam potentially right now. The question is he going to get rid of this mass production Ava, or is he going to kill Armisail using Nerve Tanks and Asuka? It would be quite a pain to lose Asuka here. He does... Okay, we are going to see the mass production Ava defeated by Nerve Artillery. He does, however, need to defeat Armisail or an Angel. Oh, he's actually going to third impact Armisail as expected. He was holding on to that card for this exact situation. That will not discard Sync Failed because Sync Failed must be defeated or must be discarded by an Angel being defeated in a Vanquish action, which third impact is not one of those. We're going to see Misato activated to play Kozo. And just putting them all at Command Center. Very interesting. Normally when I see Gendo played, I see them all played at Tokyo 3 rather than Command Center because of Betrayal. But Kidjays, he's too into the roleplay. He knows that these guys belong at Command Center. It just makes the most sense. That's where they're going. We're going to see Father going right back to his top fate. You gotta, when you're playing against Father, you gotta try and lock down that top fate because he loves going there. Divinity, worthless card until the end game, and then it becomes one of the best cards ever made. Definitely just want to get that out of your hand, throw it into the discard pile, and ain't gonna do nothing for you. Finally, the Philosopher's Stone coming out. All of these homunculi are juiced up, insanely so. Mass production Ava and Seal Interference. We're gonna see an Ava put right back on top of Terminal Dogma, wanting to keep Gendo fate locked as much as possible to make sure that he can keep up the to make sure that he can't keep up a good amount of fate pressure while Father can. And we're seeing Flask resolved once again. Human Energy being discarded, I believe. Was that True Alchemy or a Starter War? I think it was Starter War that got put back into the deck. What are we going to see from Kidjays here? After immediately having his top fate covered, he's like, well, I'm just going to fate you anyway by going to my bottom fate. We're going to see Scar and Riza. Quite good, quite good. I imagine we will probably be seeing Scar played here. Played to Central City to stop the transmutation token that was incredibly set up, although it does put Scar in very immediate danger. He can be killed by Sloth very easily here. The Ava Cage has finally come out, straight over to Terminal Dogma, so now that can be activated to get back the Ava 00 and Ava 01 that were thrown away earlier. And now Koretex has to decide where he wants to go. Does he want to keep up the Fate Storm that he's been doing? Or does he want to try and gain some power? Or go to Central City to get Scar out of here? He can kill Scar using just Sloth. However, with Mustang there, he will not be able to gain any power. He won't be able to get rid of Mustang as well. That is going to trigger Purpose of Nerve, which is going to give Gendo 2 power. Don't really need to stop the clock for that one. It's just a real quick discard, press the power counter twice. And we are going to see Sloth used to Vanquish. I assume Scar. Indeed it is. Mustang stays a while longer. If you can afford to leave Mustang in your territory for a little bit as Father, it's honestly worthwhile. It's a good way to ensure that he doesn't come back around and discard another one of your trusty allies that you desperately need. Gendo now at 4 strength. The world is his oyster. We're seeing a pause for some reason. Is this a brief pause or is this a long pause? Oh, we're back. We're back. We're back in it. Here we go once again. Back to Kidjay's turn. I didn't see anything need to get changed or whatnot, so it was probably just a clarification from the judges to make sure everything was on the up and up would be my assumption. You never know. I've actually never heard the judges judging because every single time judges are being judges, I'm doing this. We're going to see Purpose of Nerve played over there. That 7 power just isn't enough for Gendo. He demands more. And we're going to see Ava 02 slapped onto Asuka. Cannot be used now due to Sync Failed, but as soon as these tanks take out an Angel, they will be. Still not playing Adam, which I find quite interesting. We know that he has Adam in his hand due to the Legacy of Gahern earlier. We're going to see Greed played and probably a Starter War here. I believe Koretex is counting. That's 5, 6, 9. I believe it costs 1. All those allies add up to 6, and they all get +1 from the Philosopher's Stone, so that equals 9, which is going to be Father's first token. Still needs to deal with Mustang. Envy's getting reshuffled, that makes sense. And we don't have Wrath or Pride in the field, and we haven't seen Father's Throne yet, so Pride is still in the discard pile for now. And Alphonse could come out at any moment to snatch away Envy or Pride, or not Pride, Wrath, if they're not in Koretex's hands. Ooh. Is this time? Is it time for the Atom? We're going to see a Nerve Artillery played using Misato, which is going to allow Kidjays to draw 2 due to Ritsuko's effect. And then we're finally going to see Atom played with the normal play a card action. We're going to see the Nerve Artillery take out the Mass Production Ava again. And next turn, we will see an Angel played by Atom unless he gets hit by a Red Alert here, which is very possible. I believe one of these last 3 cards... No, we already saw the last Red Alert pass. They're all in the discard. So, guaranteed that we're going to see Atom get off, and Koretex is taking his time to see this. To figure out what he wants to do about this. He could go and get Mustang out of here, as well as start moving his stuff over, but instead he's going to go to his top Fate, gain 1. And are we going straight to the Fate, or are we playing something? We're discarding Envy again? He must have immediately drawn Envy again, which I find very funny. We haven't seen a Promise Day yet from Koretex. I don't know if he's just gotten really unlucky at drawing them or what, but I find that very interesting. It looks like he's checking his deck for exactly what I thought. I was going to say he was checking, or is not his deck, his discard pile, to see if he had anything worth Father Throning, and boy, howdy does he. Pride is in there, thanks to Mustang. Definitely wants to get that back in immediately. Getting rid of the other Human Energy because Human Energy sucks. That's what I'm saying. True Alchemy for life, Human Energy for never. Ooh, Fruit of Life could put Armisail back on top, which would be quite a problem because the Nerve Tanks would not be enough to vanquish if Kidjays was able to do a Horrible Truth. But also Betrayal to take away one of his allies could be very strong. And it looks like we are going to see a Betrayal of Misato turning against Gendo. We will likely see her getting clashed with by Gendo later. This is typically why I see people play these betrayable allies to Tokyo 3 rather than Command Center. We also see Flask being used again here, as expected. If you're there, you may as well make use of it unless you don't want to accidentally force a reshuffle. That was Pride we saw go in there, looking to Promise Day him soon. So now Atom is going to activate, gaining the first of the 3 tokens he needs, and we're going to see Bardiel come out. 4 strength, which means that he can be defeated by the duo Nerve Tanks. If an ally is ever moved, then Bardiel will move, which will make the Nerve Tanks much more difficult to use in that aspect. And Gendo finally getting to use his top Fate, going over to Terminal Dogma. Ooh, Gate of Truth and Mei Chang, both fairly troubling for Father here. I think we're going to see Mei Chang played. Oh, no, Kidjays is heavily considering. This is a bit of a hard pick. Normally, I feel like Gate of Truth would be the absolute go-to. However, with how much the deck has been set by Father when he's down to these 9 cards, dumping a lot of garbage in there right now could actually really slow down Father as he's finally starting to get some momentum with having put his first token and preparing himself to start moving his items across his board to get even more. So we're going to see 5 cards. I didn't actually pay that much attention to them and what they were. I saw Divinity for sure, and I'm sure there was a lot of other relative garbage that Father did not want to deal with. And then what else are we going to see from Kidjays here? I haven't been paying much attention to the chess clock either, but Kidjays actually has a little bit of a time advantage here. I mean, I feel like we have more than enough time for these games to play out with the speed at which they're going, so I doubt that will become a factor, but it's possible. We're going to see Ava Cage activated to put Ava 0-0 back in hand, which will also activate Ritsuko to allow Kidjays to draw 2, which is quite good. And he's at his discard location, so he can really get rid of some cards he doesn't want, which is only Marduk Institute, the only one that was causing him any trouble. What are we going to see from Father here? What are we going to see from Father? He's going to go to Central City and finally get rid of Mustang. That is going to trigger Purpose of Nerve, so Gendo gaining 2 more power over there now. We're going to see Greed and probably Gluttony used for the overkill, because Gluttony will replay himself so that he gains 2 from Lust. I think he didn't use Gluttony there. Maybe you can't use Gluttony like that. I've never tried to use Gluttony like that. I just realized it might be possible, because you're allowed to overkill with allies in this game, I believe. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm saying nonsense. We're finally seeing a Promise Day, and of course it's immediately Mannequin Soldier. What else is new? What else is new? Welcome to the life of Father. We hate it here. I'm here to tell you, we hate it here. We're going to see both Promise Days reshuffled and then the move action used on the Philosopher's Stone, which makes a lot of sense. You cannot move Philosopher's Stone utilizing Shapeshifter, so it's usually better to move those items unless you have an ally that really needs moved immediately. We're going to see Gendo going over to his command center to use his one and only Vanquish to get rid of Bardiel, which will also remove Synchronization Failed. Probably also going to be clashing with Misato at the end of this turn, and we're going to see another Nerve Tank thrown out, so Asuka and Nerve Tanks are super ready to go to take out whatever Angel comes out next to Tokyo 3. Even a 5 strength would not be able to. However, Gendo will only be able to Vanquish on his turn should he have Horrible Truths. And I believe we saw at least one of them get discarded earlier, potentially even more than that. I'm not sure. Koretex really taking his time with deciding which location he wants to go to. Really thinking it through. Something you have to do at times in competitive and Annabelle to make sure you know for sure, yes, this is where I need to go this turn. Potentially even thinking up some further turns. We're going to see him discard a Shapeshifter and put the other back into his deck, followed by playing Envy, who is going to be 2 strength due to the Mannequin Soldiers at this location, rather than 4. That's going to be 2, that's 3 Envy with Philosopher's Stone, and then Mannequin, that's 4. So that is only 4 strength, unfortunately. It's a decent amount, but not enough to get a Starter War out just yet. We're going to see the reshuffle on Gendo. Thanks to all of that early focus on fading, Koretex has managed to reshuffle the deck so that he can hopefully use red alerts to truly slow down Gendo's Atom progress, which is very, very important. And then we're also seeing Father's Throne used here to put something from the discard back into the deck, or maybe Koretex was just looking and thought better. He was most likely looking to see, is there something I want here, and decided against it. We're going to see Flask used as well. He's got so many items. He's got all of his items stacked up here, actually. Now we're going to see Token 2 on Adam. Ariel, another 5 strengther. That is very rough for Gendo. He would have loved to have seen a 2 or a 3 strengther there. Also, very hard to stop Ariel, or Ariel, however you say it. This is my favorite. I need to learn how to say this one at least, because Ariel is my favorite. I think he's the coolest looking one. He's 5 strength. He's difficult to deal with. I love Ariel. My favorite of all the angels, without a doubt. But definitely, we're going to see Ray played. Actually, with Ray and the Ava 00 out, Kidjays can afford to let Ariel move, but it looks like he won't. He's not going to do any kind of discarding of any kind, which is Ariel's trigger, so he will not be moving. We're going to see Koretex going over to Central City, moving over Lust, getting a huge bank of power. This should be 3-3-1, counting Philosopher's Stone, so it should be 7 of them, which means that should have been a 3-cost Starter War. I didn't actually look at how much power he had, but I think he had it about right, or I miscounted. One way or the other. And that will be the end of Koretex's turn with his second. Both players at 2 tokens. However, Gendo only needs 3, while Father needs 4. I'm very amazed by this Father game going over here. We have seen almost no Pride and no Wrath, but Koretex is still doing quite good with it regardless. We're going to see Gendo going and vanquishing Ariel using... Oh, we're also going to see Marduk Institute thrown out, probably to potentially force a Shinji play, and immediately proccing it with Kozo. Interesting. Will we see Shinji, or is there just going to be a Nerve Artillery and or tank coming out? Oh, Misato, actually! And right back to the command center. Very interesting. That was not a play I was expecting this turn. Typically, you see the classic activate, get back Ava, play Ava again. But he does have Ray ready to go with Ava 00, so probably not too worried about having Ava 02 on lock, ready to go. We're going to see Father very worried about not being able to get a red alert in time. If they were shuffled low, which would be very unlucky for Koretex, that would be quite a problem. He needs to be able to get a red alert out relatively soon. Since Father will only need to defeat 1 more angel, he will be getting his 3rd token on his turn. Ooh, Wrath being put back in, we're probably going to see. And Pride, both in hand. You hate to see that. But now you would love to see him pulled out with Promise Day. And right there's Wrath himself being thrown right to Xerxes, the next location prime for war. And then a Fate. A red alert? No red alert, but another betrayal. I think Misato is about to have an immediate change of heart yet again after that Marduk Kozo play. Or Fruit of Life could actually be used to put Ariel back on top to make sure that there's a 5 strength angel for Kidjays to have to deal with. He is set up to be able to handle that with the Nerve Tank plus Ray plus Ava 00. However, it would still exhaust all of those resources in one swoop. It would for... Oh, we're going to see Asuka betrayed, actually. Very, very interesting. Not wanting Kidjays to be able to get back out that Ava 02 anytime soon and make Tokyo 3 another kill zone using Asuka. And then I believe we just saw, we're seeing where Koretex once again continues to get to Flask and is utilizing his Flask at the end of his turn. Greed being put back in, and that appears to be it. I believe he might have put something else back in or discarded the mannequin. I didn't notice. All 3 tokens are on Adam. Now Gendo just needs to start his turn with no angels out. And we have Zariel, who is going to move when a fate action is performed, which will be happening, and will put him right in Ray's sights. Winry and Umbra Circle, a bit of a weaker fate. Winry can really stack the deck, however, because it's going to force a reshuffle. So not too bad, all things considered. Where is she going to be played, though? And it looks like it'll be Fort Briggs. So what's going to happen here is, because there are not 3 cards for Kidjays to look at, I believe the Fate deck is going to be reshuffled with this last card acting as the top. And then it will show these 3 for Kidjays. He will get to look at them. There we go. He's going to take a look at these and discard any that he does not want to see anytime soon and return the rest of the top in any order. And if Kidjays is clever about it, he can order them in such a way that he can make use of multi-fates to really hit Father hard back to back. It looks like he's discarding at least 1. I assume that's what that top card is, or that's the one he's keeping. He's discarding Automail, not going to be a very strong fate anytime soon with no good heroes out, really. Well, Mei Chang and Winry, you know, they're cool people, but they're only 2 strengths. They're not doing a lot to Father, is what I mean by that. And back over to Koretex, we're going to see a Horrible Truths. We're going to see Kozo sacrificed for Gendo's version of the greater good to use the Vanquish using Ava 00 to get rid of Zariel, which means desperately Father needs to hit a red alert here. He needs to hit a fate. He needs to hit a red alert. Otherwise, it is most likely game over. There are 3 red alerts out of these 11 cards. It is entirely possible that Father could pull it off. I imagine we're probably going to see the fate immediately here to see... Oh, he's actually going to play Shapeshifter first. That's fair if it's such a quick and easy play. And the game pretty much all comes down to this, because I imagine Kidjays probably has an ally, and he got a red alert, so the game is not over yet. If that red alert had not been pulled there, Kidjays would have entered Showdown, and I imagine he has at least an ally in hand. All he needs is Shinji plus an Ava, or a single tanker artillery, and he could have moved to Command Center and ended his Showdown phase that turn. Instead, we're going to see Ramiel discarded and Leliel played, who only moves after a hero is defeated, which might actually happen with Mass Production Ava out. And then we're going to see Winry get clashed with, thanks to Shapeshifter, putting Father at 3, and then Lust moved over beside Wrath to really put pressure on Xerxes for that inevitable war. We're going to see Kidjays moving over to the Command Center. Does he have the cards in hand and available to immediately defeat Leliel here? The odds of getting we're going to see Shinji played to Leliel. If he can kill Leliel this turn, Father will be able to fate him again. However, it will be rather... Oh, we're going to see Misato used, actually, so we will not be seeing... into Ava. If Ava 01 had been in his hand, he could have potentially killed Leliel this turn. Instead, we're going to see Misato play the Magi, which then allows him to draw 2 due to Ritsuko, which would have happened at the end of his turn anyway. But yeah, that's how Ritsuko works. Ritsuko works well when you use your activates right out the rip, more so than when you already have the cards you want to play. When you're looking for a card you want to play, so you activate immediately to activate Ritsuko, rather than having her just happen to go off at the end of the turn, when you're already going to be drawing regardless. We're going to see Father going to Xerxes and gaining 3, and then I believe he spent 4 there with Wrath plus Lust to get that 3rd transmutation token out. Ooh, and he's still got Shapeshifter here, so he's going to get to immediately move either Lust or maybe Wrath, or even he can move over Envy to get in that direction, and he's going to get to clash with Mei Chang. Ooh, boy. Father is suddenly very, very close to the endgame here. He's done very well at catching back up token-wise, getting those second and third tokens out. And he is actually going to move Wrath despite Wrath's ability to move himself. We're going to see Kidjays, now very worried about this, go straight over to his bottom fate and make use of it. Alphonse and Ling Yao. I was about to say we'll probably see Alphonse come out here, being played to Fort Briggs. This is going to get rid of Shapeshifter. Actually being played to Central City. Good play, blocking the top move. Not wanting Father to be able to get even more movement going on. He gets rid of Shapeshifter, which is a good ally movement, as well as getting rid of... Do we have 8 here? He's going to end up reshuffling Father's deck here, which Father may struggle from a little bit as he's trying to close out his game, essentially, at this point. Just really... Sorry, tickle in my throat. Just really wanting to get a couple of allies over to Fort Briggs. And we are going to see only Greed get caught. I think Pride was in the deck earlier, so Pride must be in Koretex's hand. Very lucky for him to have Pride in hand rather than he get caught right here. We will see Greed discarded, and I believe that is the only target that can be discarded here. Alphonse only hits allies. So that will be all of that. So now Father's deck, 17 cards back in it, very shuffled up. A lot of garbage in there. That could cause some major issues for Father as he tries to get enough allies at the far right and then activate a Start a War. Play a Start a War to get that last token. But he is fairly bereft of heroes aside from Alphonse, so if he can just get that token fairly quickly, while it appears that Gendo is having a little bit of trouble getting this last hero out and cleaning it up, that could be a big game changer. There are 2 red alerts in here. They could be buried low. They could be at the top. There's no way to know. What are we going to see from Koretex? He is using up some of his clock. He knows that he has time to spare. He can really take his time and think about his play. Does he perhaps have another Shapeshifter? Or he has True Alchemy, actually, which he's going to turn into a move action to move over Envy. So Envy plus Gluttony will be able to defeat Alphonse here, which is most likely what he's looking to do. And Gluttony will play himself back, so he doesn't even have to lose Gluttony on it. So once again, cleared of heroes, then able to gain 2 and move Lust over. He only needs 4 power to start a war at Fort Briggs and essentially win. He can go to Xerxes with his double play even on his turn, and with Philosopher's Stone get Divinity as well and do them both if any heroes come out. Oh, and Koretex is just going to the command center. Oh, he can't Fate because of Mass Production Ava, actually. I hadn't realized that until just now. So, unfortunately, unable to Fate here. That might be it for Kidjays. Being Fate-locked here might be his demise. We are going to see him defeat the Mass Production Ava because he needs that top Fate available. That is going to move Leliel, I believe. It should, if they remembered to do so. It's not often you see Leliel moved. And we're going to see Marduk Institute thrown out onto Father. But this might, if Father has the Starter War in his hand, this might just be game. And we are seeing Leliel moved by Butter King, our judge. He noticed that it was that was his trigger, was the hero defeat. Is this game? If Koretex has, or not Koretex, Cortex, my mistake, sorry. If Koretex has Starter War in his hand, which I think he doesn't because he's not immediately doing it, then he would win this turn, because he only needs 1 to gain 1 power to then play it, thanks to Wrath and Lust. A Starter War would only cost 4. It does not seem like he does. Otherwise, he would not be taking his time to think here. So probably what he wants to do is just go and discard hard, and going to Flask's location for that makes a lot of sense. Because all he needs to do right now is get Starter War in his hand. He is well in place to be able to play it. He just has to draw it. Debating if he wants to spend any power to play a card or not, and then going for his Fate. And there is another red alert. That red alert, honestly, that might be the game right there. Getting another Angel out here, even if it was just a 3 strength or a 4 strength, either way, it is going to be very difficult for Kidjays, especially when he's already at his Vanquish location, to be able to make use of, not make use of, rather, but be able to defeat these Angels quickly enough to initiate his showdown. And we do see Legacy of Gahern being procced here, which is going to let him bring back Ava 00 to be able to deal with Leliel, presumably. But I do believe all we have to see here is we have to see Koretex draw Start a War. and it will most likely be game at that point. And he does have the use of the flask. I'm very surprised that he's not just discarding out his entire hand. I would even discard Pride into the discard pile, and I think he might be thinking about it. I would immediately ditch every card in my hand if I didn't have Start a War, just to make sure I drew it. But it looks like he will be shuffling back in Pride, which is going to trigger Marduk Institute, which means we will take another slight pause. All the kids are in play? No, Asuka's not in play. Although at this point, we might just see an artillery come out instead, as that would be very useful to help Rei and Shinji go through their vanquishes. Yep, a Nerve Artillery, as expected. Oh, does Marduk Institute not play? Okay, it does play them. That's what I thought. Sometimes I get a little confused over which of the ally finding things put in hand and which ones discard. Or not discard, but play, I mean. We're going to see Sloth shuffled back in. Quite interested in Koretex shuffling them back in. Maybe he's a little more worried about not drawing a Starter War than I would have been, which is entirely fair. I personally would just discard hard for a Starter War with this kind of a board setup, because I believe Scar is in the... Oh no, Scar might have gotten reshuffled actually, so we could see Scar come out, but Wrath can still defend against that, but I would be looking very hard. Oh, and he is ending up just discarding Sloth. I would be discarding very hard for that Starter War, because it's the one thing keeping him from winning right now. He would have won that turn had he had it. See those two cards go away? 14 cards in here. I assume all 3 Starter Wars are in there, if none of them are in his hand. So, we will see. Going to the top fate here. Very smart play by Gendo. Ooh, Scar! Probably the biggest hero that Koretex did not want to see right now. Very unfortunate to have not had that, even more unfortunate rather, to have not had that Starter War last turn now. He will most likely just have to sacrifice Wrath to Scar to get him out of there. However, with Lust in play, that will gain him an extra 1. I actually think if he has Starter War in his hand, Philosopher's Stone is too far away. I was going to say with the Lust gain and the gain 2, he might have had just enough, but I think he'll be a little slow. We're going to see the Magi activated by Kidjays, which will let him draw 3 cards and discard 2, and following that, he should draw another 2 from Ritsuko, if I'm not mistaken. Just a truly massive hand here. I love the Magi, one of my favorite cards in Gendo's deck. Now, Koretex might have Starter War in his hand right now. He might even be debating right now, is there a way I can pull out the win this turn with Scar here? I don't think there is. Unless he has, if he has True Alchemy. If he has True Alchemy plus Starter War, he could win this turn. He would go to Xerxes, gain 3, be at 7, True Alchemy, vanquish Scar with Wrath, gain 1 from Lust would put him at 8, and Lust would make Starter War cost 8. I believe that's the only way he could win here, which he may not, if he doesn't have both True Alchemy and Starter War, he cannot do, unfortunately. And even if he does have them, he may not realize it. But Koretex, he does take his time with deciding where to go and what locations to move to, so he's probably doing his best to think right now, is there some way I could pull this off? We did just see an Umbra Circle go by. I don't know if there's another Umbra Circle still in the Fate deck or not, or if they both passed. He might... Oh, we are going to see True Alchemy! Did he get it? If he has Starter War in his hand, he wins here. If he has Starter War in his hand, he wins here. Lust is 2 strength. It makes Starter War cost 8, and he has the power for it. Oh, he doesn't have it. He's going to go straight for a Promise Day and immediately get a Mannequin Soldier. That hurts. That hurts. I wanted to see that play work out so badly. Using the Mannequin Soldiers who have 1 strength from the Transmutation token as well as another strength from the Philosopher's Stone there. Very good defense. I'm very surprised by Koretex shuffling so many cards back into his deck. When, like 2 turns in a row now, he could have just won with Starter War had he had it in hand. He really, really needs to just dig for that Starter War. Oh, did I miss... I missed a third impact being played somehow. I apologize. A third impact was played, a token was removed, and it was just put back by Adam. I completely missed that. Holy cow, I must have been too focused on that Father Fate that happened a moment ago. I did not realize that third impact had been played. So, Kidjays played third impact, which removed one of his tokens, but killed all angels on his field. And now, Shamshell has been played by Adam to get the token back. Gendo, all of a sudden, is very much back in this game. Incredibly back in this game. No wonder No wonder Koretex was taking so much time to consider where to move on his turn. I completely missed that. We're going to see Ava01 come out on Shamshell and take up that spot. Not fading. Very interesting. Perhaps he can get the token here. With Lust and with Automail, it would cost 9. And we are going to see the token. So deciding instead of fading to get the token. Very fair, because Gendo has to start his turn without an Angel. So if Gendo is actually in a... And we're going to see Philosopher's Stone discarded right out the gate, potentially before a Hohenheim can be played to stop it, to get Divinity in hand. I think this might be game. I'm not sure off the top of my head if it's possible for Kidjays to do anything, whether he fates or not, to stop Father. We're also going to see Lust moved over to Edward's location as well for extra insurance, potentially. Koretex is debating if he wants to do it or not. I don't see any harm in it either way. I think he just wins off of Divinity at this point. Koretex checking his discard pile to make this decision. I'm not sure why, but he is. Okay, moving Flask to get to use Flask this turn. Probably checking his discard to see if he wanted to use Father's Throne. So he gets that extra 2 draw and then some discard. Oh boy. Kidjays has to fate here. I'm not sure if there's any fate that can stop him. Hohenheim would have stopped Philosopher's Stone if it hadn't already been used. I believe no matter where Hohenheim is played to, Divinity costs 0, so Father can just move to Edward, play Divinity, get rid of Hohenheim using Divinity's ability, and then clash with Edward. So I believe that will be game. That third impact play almost brought Kidjays back. He's still going to play out his turn just in case Koretex makes some kind of a mistake or doesn't realize that he can win this turn, because I believe, unless I am very mistaken, there is nothing stopping him. Automail makes Divinity cost 1, but he wants to move to Xerxes anyway to be able to play it, so he'll gain 3, spend 1 for Divinity, and that will be game. Indeed it will be. Gain 3, spend 1 for Divinity, Transmutation token Hohenheim, clash with Edward, and that will be Father completing his showdown. So close. If he hadn't needed to fate that turn as well, then Kidjays could have easily gotten rid of Shamshell. There's only one red alert left here. It could have hit, it could have missed. There's no way to know, really, unless they pull out the cards, which they might or they might not. But wow, an incredibly close game between two of the best fathers in anime history. Just a very close game. Well played from both players. Very impressive. Very impressive indeed. Koretex really taking his time. As you can see, he's 5 minutes down on the clock, but he made it count and pulled out the win before time could end up being a factor for him. So that will be Koretex winning round 1, making him the starting player as we move into round 2. I'm very excited to see what we have come up next. And here we have round 2 beginning. Once again, Koretex is banning Tetsuo, does not want to have to go up against Tetsuo. As I mentioned earlier, I believe Kidjays might actually main Tetsuo, and that could potentially be the reason for it. Kidjays, meanwhile, is going to ban Father immediately after that Father game. He's like, I've had enough. I'm tired of all these people picking Father in this tournament. You will play someone different against me. And we're going to see how that goes for him. It was a very close game as well. Incredibly close that first round. Gendo probably a turn or two away from complete victory there, assuming that a red alert wasn't around the corner. And with Light not banned, we're going to see Koretex playing Light. This isn't the first time we've seen Light. I believe Light was used in Butter versus Vinyl, if I'm not mistaken. But it was only that once. Ooh, Light and Cell. Light and Cell. This is going to be a game. I think Cell actually has a pretty favorable matchup here, which makes sense because Kidjays was able to counterpick here. Because Cell, like Father, is very good at keeping fate pressure up, and Light hates people who can fate him whenever they feel like it. Because he really wants to be able to lock opponents' fates and stop them from being able to make use of them, so that he can get off patient plotting and Shinigami eyes and whatnot. We are going to see Kidjays as Cell making use of his mulligan. And here we go with Koretex taking his turn. Sorry, I had to click back in, which makes the red text show up. I apologize. We're going to see him going straight to Yellow Box Warehouse doing a lot of discarding, losing an early social manip, and I did not catch what that other card being discarded was as I was tabbing back in. Paranoid Prep thrown out to Cell, who does enjoy fading a good deal, so we will likely see that going off pretty quick. Cell Games and Android 16, really no reason to play Cell Games here right off the rip. Probably just going to see 16 thrown down, most likely on the arena. Very important to get Cell's top fate covered, as he loves going to a double play fate location, wanting to stop that as much as possible, and that will be the end of Light's turn. Now we're going to see Cell coming out. Cell coming out as if he's not already in play. Cell taking his turn, going straight for his bottom fate, and triggering Paranoid Prep as a result. The fate is revealed first, I believe, and then Paranoid Prep happens before they are played, because you have to reveal the card from Light's fate deck to trigger it. Yes, that is how this works. So we're going to see Delete triggered, and that appears to be it. Just the delete is all that he doesn't want right now. And, oh, also Misinformation as well. And then getting to draw 2. Now we're going to see Mogi or Ide being played, and it will be Mogi being played to Yellow Box Warehouse, covering that top fade up. Light hates when that happens. Are we going to see Light moved to Light's apartment? Because Mogi can move any character to an adjacent location, which would stop him from going to Light's apartment on his turn and using the move hero action. No, I believe he's just going to choose not to use Mogi's ability, as it is a May. Instead, he's going to play Reconnaissance onto Light, which will trigger if he ever discards an effect. And then we're going to see Cell discarding Kamehameha, as that is not very useful to him in his first form. Now, what are we going to see from Light here? What are we going to see from Light? Koretex debating very hard on it. He is a man who, I have learned after the first game, he takes as much time as he wants to in deciding what location to go to, which is very fair. You got to really think these things through before you accidentally go somewhere you don't want and end up missing a potentially better turn. We're going to see him gain and spin 3 immediately for Ryuk, going ahead and getting Ryuk out there. There is nothing that can be done to Light via the Fate deck that will get Ryuk out of here. I don't even think there's anything by the Villain deck that can get Ryuk out of here now that I think about it. So we're going to see a Desperate Gambit, which is going to get Nier's name and immediately play Matsuda, which will allow him to move Light to any location. We could see Light move to Yellow Box Warehouse here, potentially. Oh, no, don't do that. He would immediately be able to take those actions. Definitely do not do that. Probably just not going to use Matsuda's ability if he's not going to move him to Yellow Box. And that appears to be the case, so that will be the end of that. We're back over to Kidjays' turn. He's going to Arena? Going to Arena, probably going to see some kind of an Absorb Clash combo here, I would imagine. Oh, changing his mind and going to the Tropical Islands. Thought better of it. Maybe realized he didn't want to have to get rid of 16 here, or didn't even have the card necessary for it when he thought he might have. He is at enough power to play androids, should he have them. We're going to see a Cell Jr. thrown out against 16. Even better, potentially. That might have been why he changed his mind. If he does have Absorb or such in his hand, then next turn he can go there and actually use the Cell Jr. to defeat Android 16 and get to make use of the top fate, rather than clashing and being unable to use the top fate in that instance. Koretex, once again, deciding where he wants to go here. Matsuda and Mogi taking up the edges of his territory, so I imagine we'll probably see a Light's Apartment move Mogi play here, or potentially even Matsuda. We are going to see Mogi moved off of that top fate. Makes a lot of sense. Yellow Box Warehouse is quite possibly Light's least favorite location of all time when it's covered. Gain 1 and discard really doesn't do a whole lot for him, especially when he has Paranoid Prep to really help him with discarding and whatnot. Oh, we're seeing a scheme played. It's going to be Battle of Wits. So if Cell plays another of his schemes, either Reconnaissance or Appeal to Pride, then Koretex will be able to play some schemes from his discard pile. And if Cell doesn't do that, Battle of Wits will sit there to eventually be used for either Imprisoned or Just as Planned. We're seeing Cell go over to Carnivale, going straight for another Fate. Complications in Aizawa. Complications could just immediately get rid of the whatever it is I'm thinking of that was just played. But Aizawa being played to cover up Yellow Box Warehouse makes a lot of sense. Are we going to see Mogi moved potentially here, or Matsuda? as Aizawa loves to do. We are going to see Mogi moved, just spreading them out and really covering Light's territory. And then what else will Cell be doing this turn? Oh, he turned Cell to the side. That's interesting. We are going to be seeing Solar Flare discarded. Very interesting. That's a very strong card, being able to move. And we're going to see Android 17 coming out, spending 4 on him and dropping him at the Tropical Isles, actually. Interesting. I normally play them to the Carnival myself because they like to have fun. The androids love having fun. Throughout Dragon Ball Z, they even go on a joyride. They just like having a fun time, so I thought they might like Carnival. But Tropical Islands, the site of their biggest defeat, where 17 was absorbed, now that I think about it, it's a lot more anime to put him there, isn't it? We're going to see Koretex playing out Kiyomi to Light's apartment, so he will get to draw to 5 at the end of his turn. Double crippling power. Was this shuffled? Android 16, Cell Games, crippling. That's a very interesting shuffle if it wasn't shuffled. Perfect Barrier and then Cell Jr. to take out Android 16 here, I believe. If I see something else in alphabetical order, I'm going to lose it when Cell pulls that out, because it would definitely... We put all of the decks in alphabetical order when they're loaded in. So if you're ever playing Anime Villainous and you start pulling from a deck and everything is for some reason alphabetical, you either got like a 1 in a bajillion chance, or it wasn't shuffled. We're going to see Cell throw out Appeal to Pride after fading to play Mellow and just shoot Kiyomi into oblivion. That is going to trigger Battle of Wits, so now Koretex, who does have 3 power, so he can very effectively make use of it, play play up to 2 schemes. Oh man, if it was as many as Light wanted, that would be a problem. That would be way too strong. But he gets to play 2 schemes of his choice, but he does have to pay their cost. And we're going to see Paranoid Prep and Misinfo, which is only going to cost him 1, because Paranoid Prep is free, and Misinfo costs 1. And then we are back over to Koretex's turn. Going over to Light's apartment to hang out with Mellow, maybe? Debating it. He does only have 2 power right now, which isn't minimal. It isn't nothing, but it's not a lot for what Light likes to do, such as Social Manip and whatnot. We did see him discard a Social Manip earlier, but he could have another Amnesia. Okay. So there are really 2 ways to play Light in this game, usually. It's let heroes stack and then Amnesia, so that you can perform 1 non-fate action at your locations that have them covered, and then it is to try and kill them as fast as they come out. And it looks like Koretex has decided to play with Amnesia. We're going to see Bug Drone played to 17's location to gain 2 there, due to Imperfect's effect, giving him an extra 1. We're going to see Paranoid Prep being activated after these cards are revealed. L and Accusation. Accusation does not really do much here. I imagine the most likely outcome we're about to see is L being thrown on Yellow Box Warehouse to cover up that location. Once again, Amnesia does not allow you to take the covered top fate. You can only take the covered top play at Yellow Box Warehouse with it. But first, we are going to see Paranoid Prep being used here. Oh, dear. A little bit of a weird TTS interaction there. It happens. That's TTS. And L going straight to Yellow Box Warehouse. Kidjays had a little bit of time to think about how he was going to do that from the first second he saw L revealed. Just to really mull over, like, Accusation or L? I can really take my time in deciding that I'll play L here, because it makes way more sense. Koretex, probably looking at his hand, thinking about where he wants to go when he's at 0 power. Does he desperately need to go gain power, or can he afford to go to his bottom fate? And it looks like he has decided that he can afford to go to his bottom fate. Checking his discard pile. Very interesting. Perhaps I was about to say, I was just thinking, like, why would he do that? Oh, wait, God of the New World. And right before I could say it, he pulled it out. We're going to see a Desperate Gambit. Ooh, really needs that power. We're going to see Aizawa's name come out. Aizawa is in play, unlike Nier. And then Imprisoned is played. Thankfully, the token comes before the Fate card, so Imprisoned does not stop it. Now, could we see, due to Amnesia, using a top play there to play another scheme so he can immediately get rid of Imprisoned. I think that's exactly what we're going to say. Words. C. Kira Cult being played for 0, Imprisoned immediately discarded. All in all, a pretty good Desperate Gambit. That Gambit, as desperate as it might have been, I'd say it paid off. We're going to see Cell going to the arena, keeping up that fate pressure. But first playing his Time Machine for 2 to Android 17, which means he will get to choose a card in his discard pile, shuffle it into his deck, and then draw a card. Probably something to do with lowering strength or gaining power, and it will be lowering strength. We're going to see Perfect Barrier shuffled back in. And then I believe we're seeing the Fate. Indeed we are. Kidjays is going to hit light with There's Nier at long last. His name's been out for ages. And Watari. L is already in place, so Watari doesn't really do anything here, and that seems to be the case. Instead, Nier will be played. He could switch some heroes around if he wanted to, or even switch a hero with Light, potentially, but probably doesn't want to move Light off of his bottom fate right now, if I'm being completely honest. We're going to see Mellow moved over for Mogi. Very interesting. Very interesting. And then another Reconnaissance Blade. Maybe one day it'll proc. Maybe one day. So what are we going to see from Koretex here? He has got a lot of heroes to deal with. However, he does have Amnesia, which allows him to make use of a lot of his actions. He should have a Social Manip coming up. We did see one Social Manip discarded at the very start, as well as God of the New World has already passed. So we won't be seeing Social Manips used. I don't think we've seen any of the Patient Plottings, but the Patient Plottings are practically worthless at this point. We could potentially see Light's Apartment, but the question will be, will he gain 2 power there, or will he move a hero? Kidjays just reorganizing his reconnaissances on top of each other. I respect that. I respect that greatly. Now he really needs to get that 4th Appeal to Pride up there before, the 2nd Appeal to Pride, which would make 4 cards, before Koretex triggers any of these reconnaissances. And it looks like we will be seeing Light's Apartment. Will it be the move hero action, or will it be the gain 2 action? Nope, it's going to be neither. He's going to go to Yagami Residence, gain 3. And Rem, where does... Sorry, something in my throat. We're going to see Rem come out here. Sitting Rem down at Light's Apartment to potentially kill Nier, Mellow, or heavily damage L. All being possible. And that appears to be... Oh, no, wait, no, that's Butter's hand. Patient Plotting, he's using the discard action at Yagami Residence, which I'm going to pull up right here. Using that discard option at the top of Yagami Residence to discard just as planned, as well as whatever that other card was that I just said the name of a second ago. I'll think of it again in a second. Patient Plotting, which is really not going to be doing anything for him here right now. Really not going to be accomplishing much. That is a discard of an effect which will activate both Reconnaissance. So I believe the way this card works is that Kidjays will now reveal cards from the top of his deck until he reveals an item, ally, or hero. Put that card into his hand and discard every other card. And boy howdy, there's Android 18. He's got the other Android in hand. And then he's going to go ahead and just resolve the other one by pulling out Cell Jr., which was the very next card. Discarded quite a few. I think I saw Absorbs there, which is unfortunate because he does need those to deal with 17 and 18 at the moment. And I believe that was all of Koretex's actions that he's allowed to take. He took his covered discard, if I'm not mistaken, which means he can't take his covered play action. He can only do 1 non-fate action a turn via Amnesia. Or are we going here to gain 3 and spin 4 to just get 18 out of hand? Just to get 18 out there? Is that what I'm about to see? Potentially put her at the carnival so that he can... Oh, no, he's going to play Absorb, actually. Gain an extra 2. Get that -1 on 17. He'll just hold on to 18 for a little while. I thought we might see 18 just played straight to Carnival so that he could hopefully get out Multiform and bounce between the 2 androids using Multiform to just really chunk them both down immediately. And what is Light going to do here? Thinking very heavily if he really needs to fate this turn or if he can afford to go somewhere else. Probably considering Light's Apartment to make use of either the gain 2 or the move hero. But in the end, it does appear he will be going to his bottom fate, which gives him access to a move and a play, I believe. Indeed, it does. Koretex thinking very, very hard. This man really thinks out his plays, and I respect that. We're going to see Misa played, which is immediately going to move Ryuk, but unfortunately, I think he's going to choose not to move Ryuk because it is a Mei, because he's unable to afford the Shinigami Eyes that he most likely wants to play, or Death Note for that matter, which are the only potential targets are Shinigami Eyes and Death Note. And thus he is immediately rethinking his turn and not playing Misa instead, potentially planning to do something different. I think Koretex, I keep wanting to say Koretex, which I've got to break that habit. It's Koretex. I think Koretex is a little at a loss of what to do here. In the end, he is going to go back to his Misa play, but potentially just not utilize Ryuk because he would not be able to afford, when Ryuk is moved, you have to pay the cost of the card. He would not be able to afford any items right now. Father and son, Goku and Gohan side by side. Gohan does almost nothing unless you're in Showdown, while Goku is always a pain. So we will see Goku being played to the arena because that just makes logical sense. And I believe, unless Light has a zero-cost card in his hand, or he wants to perform a move action with Rem, Ryuk, or Misa, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense right now, unless he uses Rem for a murder, which would lose him amnesia. He is thinking of hitting L. Very interesting. So I think hitting L there actually does not lose amnesia, because instead of L being defeated, he loses 1 strength. Because of the use of the word instead, he loses 1 strength instead. That means that he does not actually get defeated, which does not trigger Amnesia's clause of when you defeat a hero. We're going to see Accusation and Alias come out. I imagine it'll take L off of Yellow Box, but we're probably going to see L played straight to Ryuk. So what it does is Accusation discards a hero from the territory and then immediately plays it, which upon being replayed, L no longer has -1 strength. So that is going to, unfortunately, it's going to just immediately undo the little bit of progress that Rem had accomplished there in hitting L that first time. And then we're seeing Koretex, or not Koretex, we're seeing Kidjays discard some cards over here and then throw down a Cell Jr. at Goku, preparing to defeat him down the road. Back over to Koretex, who's having a bit of a rough time. He's only got 2 name tokens right now. He does have Amnesia in play, so he's got a lot of action economy despite having such an incredibly covered territory, but still having a bit of a rough time because I imagine he still hasn't drawn his other Social Manip, which Social Manip and then God of the New World into Social Manip are the big plays to do when in this position, as well as the occasional Desperate Gambit. But I know we saw 1 discarded at the start of the game, and God of the New World has already been used. But could we perhaps see the second Social Manip used here to get a name out of Matsuda? At the moment, Light is only at 2 names, but that can change pretty quick. He's also coming up on a reshuffle. If he could just get some discarding going, we're going to see him using the discard action that is covered by Matsuda at Yagami Residence, as well as Last Resort being thrown out. And then delete. Ooh, delete on Nier, because his name token is revealed. That is going to trigger Appeal to Pride, or is it? No, this is by Clash, right? Villainability or Clash, so not by delete. That will get rid of Amnesia, however, because now he has defeated a hero. So unless he has the other Amnesia to play soon, he will definitely be looking to clear out heroes fast. We're going to see Kidjays going over to Gingertown and just absolutely throwing an entire supercomputer across the field. But we're going to see supercomputer thrown down at Gingertown using the top move action as well as the supercomputer to double move Time Machine right back to Android 17, putting an Absorb back in. That makes a lot of sense because I believe on the earlier reconnaissance he lost 2 or maybe even all 3 of his Absorbs, which he desperately needs back to be able to get his clashing underway while still also gaining some power. And then we're going to see Instant Transmit and Appeal to Pride and maybe some other cards discarded there, as they are no longer of any use. Now, what is Koretex going to do in response to this? That is the question. We're going to see him going to Yellow Box Warehouse. Finally, he has an open area. He will get to defeat Aizawa. Aizawa is how that's pronounced, I believe, actually, with his ability at the cost of triggering Appeal to Pride, which will let Kidjays move Goku, unfortunately. But he is going to also get to Top Fate as well to potentially put another hero on top of Arena to really try and keep that stacked. Mikami coming out, so items now cost 1 less power, which means Shinigami Eyes specifically are free, so long as a hero isn't played there. What are we going to see from Cell's Fate deck, I wonder, though? As Koretex is considering if he wants to do anything else with his turn, I imagine. Krillin and Mr. Satan. Krillin giving a nice little buff of strength will be very useful. Where is he going to put Krillin down? Over at Ginger Town. That would make a lot of sense, forcing Cell to have to go back over there to clash unless he wants to utilize a Cell Jr. just to deal with Krillin. And that is where Krillin will be put to stay. And then Koretex draws and ends his turn. So now we have Kidjays going to his bottom fate and immediately fading off the rip. Going to be hitting a reshuffle here, so a lot of cards will be coming back around. We're going to see Complications and Accusation. That hurts. Mello is probably about to be played to kill Mikami, if I had to imagine. That is what I believe is going to be the most likely outcome. I believe Kidjays is looking at all of his options, but Mello being being played straight to Mikami is definitely going to be the strongest one here. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. It seems like just about every time Koretex starts to get a little bit of momentum going, the Fate deck shuffle just, it hates him. The Fate deck shuffle just hits him really hard, having Mello immediately after that. Mello coming out immediately earlier when Kiyomi was played as well, I believe. That is very rough for Koretex to deal with. And once again, his territory is all covered up, and he is no longer amnesic, so he remembers all of these people and how much all of these people want him behind bars. Or in Mello's case, probably dead. What are we going to see from Koretex here? Going over to Yagami Residence. Does not currently have Amnesia, but we could see Amnesia. Yep, Amnesia. There's the second copy coming out right now, making sure that he can get access to more actions once again, because his attempt at clearing out some heroes to not need Amnesia did not work out well. I believe both deletes are in the discard pile as well, so we will not be seeing them coming back out anytime soon. Was that a scheme being played? Oh, he paid 1 power for something. For the Shinigami Eyes, he's playing them the old-fashioned way, straight onto Misa. Misa will not be able to make use of them with Matsuda there, but we may see that change relatively soon. I also just noticed, I think that he did not use his ability to defeat Aizawa earlier, unless I missed where something stopped him from doing so. Explosive Coercion from Cell, being played for possibly nothing? Being played for 3, so he is looking for something, or just looking to get his deck ready for a reshuffle. That will force a reshuffle, actually. Probably wanting Disappearances and Absorb here, maybe Regen. Instant Transmission, actually, that's not a bad call either. We did not see Multiform there, so Multiform must already be in his hand, so Instant Transmission will be a big help with that. We're also definitely going to be seeing Imperfect clash with Krillin here, assuming he doesn't forget. Gonna have the Time Machine moved over by the Supercomputer. Krillin is going to be clashed with, and that will be the end of Cell's turn. I desperately need a drink of water, so I'm going to go quiet for just a moment. Ah, that was very nice. I can feel my throat getting dry there. Now, here's the constant conundrum for Light. Does he gain 2, or does he use the Move Hero action to get one of these locations open, even if only temporarily? I wouldn't be surprised if we see Matsuda moved so that he could potentially use Shinigami Eyes. We're going to see Desperate Gambit played first. That's going to get L's name and get that 2 power. Accusation, discard and play someone to Light's location. That actually probably is pretty good to see here. Ooh, no, that's not how that works. It has to be to Light's location. Kidjays misunderstood. Happens to the best of us. So honestly, getting more heroes at Light's apartment helps Light, which makes me think that Accusation may be a bit of a dead one here. It may be a bit of a dead one. It might not really do much. I'm not entirely sure what I would do if I was in his position. If anything, I might move L, but even then, I think I might just let the Desperate Gambit get it. I believe, so what he did there was he played Aizawa by discard and play, and then used Aizawa's ability to... Or no, that was Koretex who used the the move hero action at Light's apartment to move Matsuda. My mistake. I got the hand colors mixed up for a second there. And then I believe Koretex is out of actions. I don't think he can do anything else. He played with Desperate Gambit. He could have moved if he wanted to, but I don't believe he did. And then we're going to see Cell go into Tropical Island, not worried about trying to get a Fate off, or unable to even. That's going to get him up to 12 strength and put Android 17 at 1. So he is going to then just clash with him, reveal his semi-perfect form. My word, it's ugly. Look at those lips. And then get to draw 4 cards. And we know that he has 18 in hand, but he still has to take the play action and the 4 power to play 18, and then get to work on lowering 18 down. We're going to see Light go to the Yagami residence and make use of the Shinigami Eyes. They will be discarded, and he will get to pull out a name token, which will be his 4th one. And we're going to get Mellow. So he could actually kill Mellow this turn and prevent further accusations, but it also means that Mellow could come back later. It could go either way, but Light is halfway on his name tokens, which is very impressive. He's getting in a dangerous spot. We're going to see Chief Yagami come out right to the Yellow Box Warehouse, ready to move any heroes that are played there at a later date. And then some discards happening as well. That makes sense. Oh, did I say that he could defeat Mellow using Mellow's name? He can't right now because he's amnesiaed. He has to defeat Mellow or some other hero through some other fashion, and then he can start using his ability to defeat heroes. We're also going to see a misinformation played over here, which Light would honestly very much like to see triggered so that he can stack these heroes a bit more effectively and give himself some more space. And that will be the end of Light's turn. We're going to see Cell going to his bottom Fate, looking to hit Light now that he's halfway on his objective. Either Complications or Alias. Probably going to see Alias. Indeed we are. What name is being put away? It will be Mellow. That makes a lot of sense. Leaving Mellow out there to potentially be hit by accusations later on. If Mellow is in the Fate deck, there's one card that can play Mellow, and it's called Mellow. If Mellow is in play, there are 2 cards that can play Mellow, and they're called Accusation. But we're going to see Cell playing an Explosive Coercion over here. I'm so used to people fating at the end of their turns, so every time Kidjays fates... Oh my word, he paid a lot. He paid 4 to look at all this to really get whatever he wanted here. But whenever I play, I always fate last, so whenever I see, or unless I have a reason to fate before fating as my last action. So every time Kidjays fates right off the rip, and then afterwards goes over and takes his turn, it always throws me off a little bit. I apologize for that. This is discard from hand, right? Yes, so... misinformation will not be triggered by the use of whatever the card is called. The use of Explosive Coercion. Now, what are we going to see from Light here? He's still amnesic, so he's got a good amount of action economy. He could... Now might be a good time to make use of that bottom Fate and use his amnesia to move Ryuk over to Misa and get a Shinigami Eye back out. It could also be a good time to go to Light's apartment. Having 2 power is good enough for now, and using that move hero to get Mellow, or actually, could use the move hero to move Matsuda or L, and then use Chief Yagami to move Mellow, or use the move hero to move Mellow and keep Chief Yagami ready to go. And it looks like he will be going to the bottom Fate, and playing out Battle of Wits. And then using Amnesia with just as planned to discard both schemes, and throw out another name, which will be Matsuda this time. Back up to 4 name tokens. We're going to see a Fate here. It's either going to be Piccolo or something in the discard pile. I think Android 16 is in the discard pile. I think that's probably the best hero in there to play, other than maybe Krillin for his strength-gaining ability. But Piccolo can also be very annoying for Cell to have to defeat, even though Piccolo is only 2 strength. Semi-perfect clashing with him, unless Piccolo already has a -1 token, will result in Piccolo just losing that 1 strength. And it looks like we did decide on Piccolo here. Koretex has decided. He's going to be blocking the double play at Tropical Islands. Or Tropical Island, my apologies. That's only 1 island. Silly me. I've seen the show. I know there are a lot of other islands around there. I'm well aware. Goku and Piccolo out. I'm realizing now, and I think that the judge and Kidjays might have noticed the same thing as me, that Explosive Coercion was played for 4 power earlier when Goku prevents that from happening, and thus we are bringing out our penalty because that is not something we can undo. It has been too long now since that occurred. So penalty minutes may be given. Penalty minutes just means that an illegal move was made that cannot be undone. And so if Kidjays gets down to 1 minute, then he will lose the game as if he got down to 0 minutes, which I really don't think is going to be an issue. I really don't think that's going to be a problem. I highly doubt that will happen, but the penalty minutes is our solution for when something is missed or some kind of cheat is done, like learning hidden information that cannot be undone, and it is then handled with penalty minutes. We're going to see multiform played directly to Piccolo to slap a -1 on him right there. And then he will be clashed with, which he will be defeated, rather... Oh, what the heck? Why is my thing not doing 90 degrees when I turn it? I don't know why that was sideways. Is that... Now it's over here? Oh, I think it has something to do with... I think Cell Games is at the bottom of this deck, so I can't alt-look it now without it being sideways. Well, that's fine. We just won't alt-look anything. I'll zoom in a lot. Piccolo... Strength of 2 or more, loses 1 strength when defeated instead. However, thanks to giving him that -1 multiform, he was straight up defeated. Now we're going to see Koretex here. Oh, actually 2 penalty minutes were allotted. My mistake. Even 2 penalty minutes with the speed that Kidjays has been playing at, I don't think is going to hurt him. I also don't think that that accidental coercive explosion extra power play that wasn't actually allowed is really going to hurt him that much. Or is really going to change the outcome of this game, I mean. I don't think it's going to be a game changer. We're going to see Chief Yagami moved and bringing Mela with him, so finally 2 locations open. And then we're going to see the hero movement used to move L, so it's just a party at Light's apartment. Everyone is here, even Light's dad. That's how confident Light is in his partying skills. He even got his dad up in here, which is incredible. Social manip, delete! So we're going to be losing Amnesia to get rid of Matsuda, which makes a lot of sense because look at this. Now Light has a lot more room to play with. He's halfway on his name tokens. It's all looking very, very good. Gonna see Cell going over to Ginger Town, gaining 2, and then spending 4 to finally get Android 18. Been holding on to her for a long time. This time she's going to the Carnival, which I appreciate. We're gonna see Multiform moved to put a -1 on Android 18. Only needs to get 1 more on her to be able to clash, using Supercomputer to immediately move Multiform again. Could we maybe see an instant transmission to get her to 2 right here? Or did he already play a card? I might have lost track. He did not already play a card. Or no, he did. This is discarding. My mistake. He might have already played a card and I missed it. That's my bad. That's my bad. And then it's back over to Koretex. Cell is very capable of getting into Showdown on his turn, going to Android 18's location, and then being able to play any of his mini strength reduction cards, and then clashing with her. He only has to get her down to 2 to exit semi-perfect and reach his perfect form. He will then, of course, have 4 heroes played to him and have a bit of a showdown to go through. But Koretex is probably a little worried right now that Cell's going to be able to go pretty quickly with that. Which is why he's taking advantage of his open top fate, which Light loves to have available, but is often covered. So we're going to see him going over there. And we're also going to see God of the New World played to get a Shinigami Eyes out on Misa over there. Potentially a 5th name token coming up next turn. We're also most likely going to see Aizawa finally die this turn via Light's ability. Ooh, Tien is great here. Tien is great here. Time Chamber is also good. I could see him playing Time Chamber instead, but I personally would be throwing out Tien to give myself another turn with no fate. Yes. Yes. Not sure about playing it too. That does stop the extra move action, but it does mean Tien will be clashed with at the end of Kidjays' turn. At the end of Kidjays' turn. Words. More than likely. Kidjays moving over Multiform, which is going to put another -1 on Android 18, so she is ready to be clashed with. Semi-Perfect has enough. However, Koretex is set up to go to his bottom fate no matter what fate hits him here. So, or no fate. There is no fate happening. My bad. My mistake. But doing so means he has to give up going for Shinigami Eyes. We're going to see an Absorb played, mostly just to gain the power because Tien doesn't need the -1, and then a little bit of discarding going on. Instant Transmission also being discarded. I assume that Cell is just going to punch Tien in the mouth here, or even in the third eye, and there goes Tien. He's out. So now we will see We are going for the Shinigami Eyes. Koretex not worried about letting Cell enter Showdown now. He was pleased with that one little delay there. Instead, just focusing on getting his 5th name, trying to rush his own objective a little bit. He still hasn't defeated Aizawa. I don't know if he just keeps forgetting that he can defeat Aizawa. I feel like he should really be defeating Aizawa. Or it could be that he's that worried about Appeal to Pride. I always forget. Appeal to Pride would proc were he to do that. I personally think it would be worth it. However, it would get Goku off of that top fate. So honestly, maybe I'm wrong in that respect. But it could be possible that that's the main reason that he is not performing the action. We're going to get Idei's name here. That's up to 6. And then we're going to see Watari. So that's going to be a hero thrown out somewhere. Probably back on that top fate. Indeed it is. And I imagine L is most likely going to be left where he is. He could use Watari to put L on top of the fate deck and guarantee that his next fate action would then put L wherever he wanted L to be, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, now that I think about it, with them all being stacked the way they are. But in the end, just deciding to leave L where he is, not wanting his next fate action to have to be used to that extent. Koretex. Sometimes I say Koretex by mistake, and Koretex, or not Koretex, Cortex. If you're watching, I apologize. There's something wrong with me. There's something just deeply, innately wrong with me. But I'm trying my best to say Cortex because that's how you said it was pronounced. Cell going to Android 18, of course, going to make use of the fate here. Ooh, Idei or Imprisoned. I think we'll probably see Imprisoned here to slow down those last 2 name tokens. Cell really just needs to slow Light down for a few more turns, just long enough for him to be able to clash with the 4 heroes that are about to come out once he enters his perfect form. And that is what will be happening. 18 is being clashed with and removed. Semi-perfect is removed. This means that Cell will enter Showdown, play Cell games as a result. And upon doing so, they accidentally hit the turn thing when they're not supposed to. This is going to play Cell games, which I believe is at the bottom of the fate deck, which is why every time that I was alting it, it wasn't working right. It's still not working right, but that'll be fixed when this reshuffle happens here in a second, I hope. We're going to see Trunks as one of the 4 heroes. I believe we're going to be getting a reshuffle. This is Mr. Satan, isn't it? No, it's Vegeta. Mr. Satan passed earlier. Father and son yet again. We're going to have a lot of... Get Gohan. It'll be so poetic. Piccolo. Gohan. Krillin. That's not a Super Saiyan. We could have had them all. Although it's very good for Kidjays to not see Gohan here. If Kidjays is lucky, Gohan is at the very bottom of this fate deck. And Gohan being low in this fate deck could actually be a game decider at this point. Because what needs to happen right now is that Kidjays, of course, obviously, needs to take out all these heroes to complete his showdown, but more specifically, he needs to do it in such a way that he wraps up his showdown before... I think this is incorrect. One of them has to be played here. Yes, to Arena. You have to play all 4 of the revealed heroes at different locations, so one of them had to be played to Goku, and that ended up being Krillin. But he really, Kidjays needs to get through these clashes and these defeats before Light can get rid of Imprisoned and get these last 2 name tokens. Light can be very fast in Showdown. Once he has all the names out, it means he's able to kill all heroes if he meets the requirements of his abilities and items, or using his effects like Delete. So, and he doesn't have to worry about losing name tokens as much, at least, to Alias or L, because he will be in Showdown. He might have to get those names back to be able to defeat if he can't use Rem, but he'll be able to go through pretty quick. We're going to see Last Resort played, which cannot be triggered because Cell is already in Showdown, so that is a guaranteed scheme that Cell cannot trigger to get out of the way to prevent being used for Imprisoned. Now we just need Light to be able to play one more scheme, and he will be able to remove Imprisoned and get back to work on these last 2. There is a worry that Imprisoned could immediately get reshuffled back in and cause him some major headache. But he has to get rid of Imprisoned. We're going to see Kiyomi thrown out and then going for the Fate. There's Gohan. There's Gohan. Kidjays is going to be hating to see that. Gohan will put a major curb in the road here. What is this analogy that I've made all of a sudden? He will put a major speed bump in Cell's progress in closing out this game, and Cell really desperately wants to close out soon because Light is beginning to reach a point where he's nearly inevitable. Once he gets those last 2 tokens, it will be a fairly quick process of them all being defeated. Are we debating using Rem here to defeat someone? Honestly, I could see Rem being moved to defeat Mello here. I know that it's typically for L, but I would probably get rid of Mello because he has still not gotten Mello's name back yet. and then potentially killing perhaps Mogurizawa. That does appear to be what's happening. Or is it? Oh, he was trying to use his ability there, but he doesn't have Mello's name. He's just going to kill Aizawa. He's finally decided to start killing the heroes, even though Appeal to Pride is activated. This is a really good time to do it if he was, in fact, holding off to not let Goku get off the top fate. We're going to see Gohan move to the top fate. Cell Jr. is there, so I also just realized that Koretex only has 5 minutes left, so he's got to start playing this in-game pretty fast. Due to penalty minutes, Kidjays only has about 14.5 minutes, but that should be plenty. We're going to see a perfect barrier played here. That will allow the Cell Jr. to defeat Goku despite Krillin, and then I imagine Krillin is going to be clashed with by Cell, which is going to remove two of the most annoying heroes, really, as Krillin is buffing everyone else, and Goku is preventing big Kamehameha plays. I imagine we'll be seeing one of those big Kamehameha plays on this coming turn. Koretex, he can't let himself rush too much here because he might make a mistake, and he has to play this in-game pretty carefully to get rid of Imprisoned, draw these last two, or reveal these last two name tokens, and start just eliminating heroes left and right. He's going to go to the Yagami Residence, gain 3, play Paranoid Prep, discard it with Last Resort. I didn't move my camera fast enough, I'm sorry. And by discarding both of them, get rid of Imprisoned. And they're going to see a Patient Plotting. I have a feeling he's going to get faded for that one. There are only 2 cards here, so he could have counted his Fate deck. There might not be a hero here to play. Although if there's an Accusation, that will work just as well, and it'll lead to Mello getting rid of Misa. It's not really a Hail Mary, but a bit of a risque play. And Nier and Alias are both here, so Nier is most likely going to be played to Light's location. He's going to do some swappy shenanigans. Patient Plotting will not go off properly, unfortunately. That would have been a big help. We're going to see Mello and L, Kiyomi, someone there switch. Someone at that location. We're going to see L switched. Okay. Very understandable. And then what else are we going to be seeing from Kidjays over here? A Kamehameha, as I expected. Probably Trunks and Vegeta both die here as a result. I don't know if he paid his full amount of power there. I think he might have only paid 5, but I wasn't paying close enough attention. There we go. They got it. This is going to be Trunks and Vegeta both clashed with. They are 4 and 3 strength, and Cell is 4. And then we're going to see Piccolo getting clashed with, which because Piccolo has 2 or more strength, he just gets a -1 token instead. But now it's just Gohan, who is at 6 strength due to his ability. And unfortunately, Light over here has a covered territory again. However, this could work in his favor if he just has some social manipulations. He can get those last 2 name tokens very easily, enter Showdown, and then he just has to rely on some quick use of Rem, as well as the other thing I'm thinking of, as well as Delete, to potentially just blow away these remaining heroes. I cannot stress enough that once Light gets into Showdown and he has all 8 names available to him, he can really start to blitz. And we are going to see a social manip, which is going to get Watari's name. Mello is the last name sitting in the name token bag. We're going to see Android 16 and Time Chamber come out here. Not bad. We're going to see a Time Chamber, so all hope is being put on Gohan, just like in the show. The problem is Goku is not out, which means that although he doesn't have enough power for it right now, it is possible that later on we could see Self-Destruct handle Gohan, potentially. The main issue with that is that Cell is a little low on power, which it's looking like he's trying to rectify right here. Not going to be fading Light this turn. Going to be playing Regen, going to just absolutely pump up his power. Gaining, is that 3 from Regen? 3 from Regen, 4 if he was imperfect is what I was thinking of. Gaining 3 with Regen. He cannot clash this turn now, but he is going to utilize Instant Transmission to move over Supercomputer, and then Supercomputer top move, do 3 move actions to get that -1 back on Piccolo. He's up to 8 power. He can self-destruct Gohan on his turn. He can Kamehameha Piccolo from anywhere. And it looks like Koretex is not going to be able to Fate, because he was just at his bottom Fate, I believe. So we're not going to see that. We're going to see a Desperate Gambit, so that's going to get the 8th token and put him into Showdown before the Fate card from Desperate Gambit is revealed. So no matter what comes up here, Light has made it to Showdown. It is going to be an Alias. I imagine L is being put back in, and that is in fact what is going to happen here. That is going to be rough. Koretex is really going to need to get L's name back out because he has to kill L twice. And on one of those kills, L's name will be returned to the supply. But now that he is in Showdown, he just really needs to get to work at murdering every single one of these people, writing their names down in the Death Note fast through whatever means he possibly can. And he's going to be moving Rem. I think he's deciding if he's going to utilize Rem to kill one of the people here. Mello, he can nearly guarantee Mello won't be coming back. That reshuffle is far away. And that is, in fact, what is going to happen. This is going to make it a little difficult to deal with L, but Koretex has to with his clock so low and with Cell so close. Are we going to see the self-destruct? We are. So, Kidjays, the only thing he can do this turn is defeat Gohan, and he can easily defeat Piccolo on his turn with a Clash. So, it is really going to come down to this fate right here. In fact, if he has Kamehameha in his hand, this might be the game, because no matter what hero is played, unless it's Tien, he will be able to move. Oh, Mr. Satan and Crippling Blow. That hurts. That hurts. That will be game should Kamehameha be in Kidjay's hands. Because he can move to Tropical Island, gain 3, be at 7, spin 6 to clash with Piccolo and Mr. Satan at the same time, and end the game. This is very unfortunate this fate could not do much, although I'm not sure there were many fates that could really save Light at this last moment. He has gotten to Showdown, but he's had a rough game of it and had a really hard time. Social manip to move L instead of get the name. Interesting. Very interesting. Are we going to see some kind of a move here now that the move is open? Or a zero-cost card play? Koretex needs to make a decision fast, although the game might be over anyway as long as Kamehameha is in hand. We're going to see Watari kill... Oh, using the move so he can use his ability to kill Watari. That makes a lot more sense. I hadn't considered that. That's my mistake. I understand now why he did that. I understand why he did it either way. I just thought that I personally would have tried to get L's name there. But getting Watari out of there and just having the area clean, very important. Very important. Kidjays did not have his, whatchamacallit, so we're going to see him fate, which is going to bring out complications and imprisoned, stopping him from getting L's name back, and playing a Cell Jr. to Mr. Satan's location, then clashing with Piccolo. So once again, very, very likely that Kidjays will be winning on his turn. Although the top fate is open since Watari was killed. Another really good reason. That was a really good play that I just hadn't considered. I've been staring at this light board for too long. Using that social manip to be able to use your ability to kill Watari was by far the right play. Tien could actually buy a turn here, or he could bring back out Gohan. That's a hard pick, and he is going to bring out Gohan, which will be very difficult. Light actually clawing this game back very effectively. However, Koretex is down to less than a minute. I believe we might actually see our first game go to time. Despite how incredibly close this is, I hope that one of them can close out their game because I would really love to see how this game concludes, but we do have a clock for a reason. We can't afford for games, especially in this tournament setting, to just go on and on and on. We're going to see Nier killed via Light's ability here. Koretex he's going to have to take his turns at lightning speed. He's got to play really fast. We're going to see Mr. Satan defeated by the Cell Jr. Cell Jr. did not need to be discarded there, and either a judge informed him, or Koretex informed him, or Kidjays realized. And then we're going to see an Absorb played to gain 1 and put Gohan down 1 strength, so he's at 5. I don't believe that Cell can win on his turn with big multiform move plus Kamehameha. We're going to see Vegeta come out and prevent that multiform move I was just talking about, so that's going to buy Koretex another turn, but he has to play fast. He's got to play fast. He's already used half of the time he had left. He's got to go quick. He's going to play a patient plotting, even though Imprisoned is in play. I think we're going to have this go to time. We're going to see Kiyomi move, and we're going to see Koretex with 10 seconds left on his clock. Oh, dear. I think we're going to have this go to time. We're going to see Kidjays just do a fate here to ensure that Light can't pull out a lightning-fast win with the amount of time that he has left. Matsuda blocking that top fate, not wanting to get fated anymore. And a Cell Jr. being played to Gohan's location. I believe that this game is going to end as soon as Kidjays hits his clock. And then a single discard, and then it's over to Koretex. Patient plotting does nothing. I believe the timer is going to go here. I don't think anyone really can play fast enough. That's going to be a delete on Matsuda. And that will... Oh my goodness. I did not like that noise, but that is unfortunately going to be the game. Mogi was also defeated there. I do not believe, especially with seeing Special Beam Cannon there, I do not believe that Koretex would have been able, unfortunately, to make it happen with L's name trapped and imprisoned out and no rem to be able to get L out of there in any timely manner. Kidjays didn't draw at the end of his turn. He would have drawn while Koretex was taking his turn there. Kamehameha and Absorb would have easily led to many options for Cell to be able to clean this out. He would have moved there, and I believe they're actually playing it out. Absorb, Vanquish Vegeta with Cell Jr., and then clash with Gohan. So the game was over regardless, even if Koretex had like an extra 2 minutes. I believe that we were a game over there. But I believe this game went on really long. I believe that is game 2 where Koretex has won a game, and Kidjays has now won a game. A very close game, 2 very close games at that. And so we will be going to a third game to see who the winner is. All right, and we're back, and Kidjays is going to be banning Light after how that last game went, despite winning against Light. And are we going to see Koretex banning Cell in return? No banning Tetsuo, just not letting Kidjays play as Tetsuo to the very end. I believe Kidjays has switched up his ban. Did he ban Light, then Father, then Light, I think is what happened. And then Koretex has banned Tetsuo at every turn. My goodness, this is going to be the longest game revealed thus far. Quite a long one indeed. So let's see what this final game is going to be between and who is going to win at the very end, either Koretex or Kidjays, to move on from round 1 to round 2 after 2 very long, arduous, close games. Very, very fun to see. They're setting their, making sure to set their clocks and whatnot real quick. And then who are we going to see? Kidjays has to pick first because he won last time, and he's going back with Gendo again. Are we going to see Father in return from Koretex, potentially? Getting a really good shuffle in there. Koretex is considering his options, trying to think of who best he can go. And it is going to be a repeat of Gendo versus Father. Can Kidjays get his vengeance and come out on top this time after it was such an insanely close game before? Or will Koretex be able to once again come out on top? And it seems like Koretex is going to be going second, even though I believe he was the starting player because he picked second to counter. Or am I remembering the rules wrong? But it seems like he is choosing to go second and potentially mulligan regardless. I think that's how it works, right? Unless I'm forgetting. Starting player, yada yada. Second player gains 1 and may shuffle their entire hand. After game ends, losing player decides the starting player. And I believe Koretex just lost as Light, so I guess he decided to go as the second player, which confused me for a second. I had to remind myself, because typically you want to go first in Villainous games. But he, for one reason or another, has decided going second as Father will be beneficial to him, and all the more power to him. I hope it works out. We're going to see the brothers come out right out the gate. Is he going to try and get a lucky early Alphonse? Alphonse won't come around to the reshuffle either way. He is going to try and go for a lucky Alphonse. I feel like I probably would have played Edward myself there, get that early 4-strength hero out while there's no Pride or Wrath, as well as the auto mail. But if he could get some good hits with Alphonse here, it could be very worthwhile. We're going to see Sloth and Lust. Not as powerful as hitting Pride or Wrath or potentially even Greed. But Lust and Sloth are really good there. He could also discard Mannequin Soldiers, but that would just be to Father's benefit. So, not the greatest Alphonse of all time, but still a pretty good one. Also blocking Leora, blocking that top Fate to really slow Father down right out the gate as far as Fate pressure goes. And what are we going to see Gendo do next? He gained his 1, he did his Fate, he still has his play a card action. We're going to see him use Fruit of Knowledge to just go ahead and immediately set up those top 6 cards of his deck and see what he can do there. Looking for allies, specific allies, or Adam, most likely. Taking myself another drink of water. I did a 4-hour stream today, just to give you some perspective on this. I did a 4-hour stream. I was playing Mega Man Battle Network. Oh, he discarded Ava 00. He did that in the other Gendo game, so that makes sense. But I streamed Mega Man Battle Network, which has, like, no voiced lines, so I did a lot of reading and a lot of talking out loud for about 4 hours. And then we had these games, which have been the longest thus far, and as such are... Ooh, we're going to see Envy played and True Alchemy used to just immediately vanquish Alphonse and shuffle back in True Alchemy as well as Envy. Very impressive. And then Gendo going with the double Fate, making his way over to Terminal Dogma. Is he going to Fate immediately, as Kidjays often does? No, he's going to play Legacy of Gahern first, actually, which is going to cost him his 1 power. And then we're going to see come out Gate of Truth and Automail. So that'll be Gate of Truth played, because Automail does nothing in this instance. So honestly, pretty good draw for Gendo there to see Gate of Truth and then a lot of discarding. A lot of discarding, enough to be able to draw a card even, despite having started with 8 in hand. But Gate of Truth and Automail coming out at the same time is pretty great, because then you can play Gate of Truth without having to give up playing some kind of other hero that could have been drawn, such as Edward or Hohenheim. Going to see Father going to Lior now that he's opened it up. Koretex thinking about what he wants to spend his power on. He's going to go for a Promised Day. Okay. Both True Alchemies. Start a War. Equivalent Exchange. This is pretty okay. Mannequin Soldier sucks, but he can get rid of some cards he doesn't want here, such as Equivalent Exchange and Human Energy. That would be my play. This might even be one of the rare situations where I might... Oh, he can't use Gate of Truth. Never mind. This sucks. No, he can't use his ability because Gate of Truth. This sucks a lot, actually. I forgot the Gate of Truth was immediately played, so he's going to lose that Start a War and both True Alchemies. And as we know, True Alchemy is one of the best cards in the game. Says me. So that is a very unfortunate loss due to Gate of Truth. He's going to want to get that Gate of Truth out of there ASAP. Sometimes when you are playing, we're pausing the clock because Kidjays is resolving Legacy of Gahern. But sometimes when Gate of Truth comes out, Father can afford to play with it for a little while. He can just leave it out and make his work done. We see the Magi to make sure that it was an item that was pulled out to ensure there's no tomfoolery that Kidjays would try to cheat, or which I'm sure he wouldn't. But if he were to try and cheat to pull an ally or something instead of an item or form, he has to reveal the card to ensure that no cheating is done. We're going to see Ritsuko come out here. Very powerful drawing tool for Gendo. And then we will also see... Thought he might have been playing a scheme there. We're going to see Ava Cage come out, a Terminal Room. Or Terminal Dogma. Not really a room. Definitely a dogma. Are we going to see Father go to either his Gain 2 or Gain 3? Probably his Gain 3 in this instance. And just get rid of Gate of Truth? As I was saying before, sometimes Father can afford to just play with Gate of Truth for a little while. He doesn't always need to be clashing Shapeshifter or not. And he can afford to just let his villain ability go by the wayside for a little while. But doesn't really want to do it long term. We are going to see him going to his Gain 2. Losing Pride really hurts there. Military Strategy isn't too bad. Shapeshifter isn't a big deal. Divinity is a good loss, but Pride is definitely the biggest blow there. But definitely just immediately getting rid of that, gaining 2 to get to 4, and then spending all 4 to remove Gate of Truth to get his ability back in play. And then playing Shapeshifter, probably to draw to 5 at the end of this turn. Indeed he is. Kidjays going over to Tokyo 3, hitting another Fate for Mei Chang and Ling Yao, which is going to guaranteed discard Shapeshifter, unfortunately. Only used for that 1 extra draw, but it was a 0 cost. I believe both Shapeshifters are in the discard, which is going to be very rough. This might actually be one of the rare opportunities where Father just wants to get himself to a reshuffle, unless he can get out... What is happening? Shapeshifter should be discarded here because Mei Chang... Oh, Mei Chang's ability resolves and then Shapeshifter happens. Right. That's why they pulled it back out. That makes sense. I doubt Shapeshifter would have been put back in. It looked like 3 cards were put back in, all of which were trash, as expected. And then what else are we going to see from Kidjays here? He's going to throw out the Magi? No, he's going to throw out a Nerve Tank to prepare to get rid of that mass production Ava. Makes a lot of sense. I understand it. I understand it indeed. Wants to get that top Fate uncovered because Father is very good at Fate pressure, and it's very important that you can keep up your own Fate pressure to keep his top Fate covered. At least as best as you can. We're going to see Father going over to Xerxes. And at Xerxes, he will be gaining 3 and presumably playing some cards. That's what I typically look to do when I go to my double play location, especially when I'm also gaining 3 power. Usually look to just get some stuff thrown out there, get some plays made. We're going to see Envy come out. Okay. Played with the Mannequin Soldiers, which means that Envy is only at 2 strength. We're going to see a Starter War shuffled back in, now that Father has his ability back in hand. We do still have some dangerous fates coming up between Scar, Hohenheim, and Mustang as well. Mannequin Soldier getting discarded makes a lot of sense. Koretex deciding on that last card. He's shuffling the Flask back in. Koretex doesn't believe in the Flask disrespect quite like the rest of us. Oh, he also played military strategy. I missed. My bad. My bad. He played military strategy. Gonna see nerve tanks used to get rid of the mass production Ava. Just get that out of there. And then seeing the Magi played for 1, and then probably, yes, activated. So he will draw 3 cards, discard 2, and then he will draw another 2 because of Ritsuko's ability proccing. Getting rid of Horrible Truth and Marduk Institute, probably 2 cards that will not come in useful this early, but will be much more useful later once the Angels start to come into play. You see Koretex going over to Fort Briggs, gaining 1, spending 1 to go for a Promised Day that will, immediately getting Greed. Not bad. Not bad. He's going to stack up Central City, looking to get ready for that first token. I say get ready? Did I put an I in that word when it's EA? Am I okay? EA Sports, it's in the game? All right, I'm back. All it takes is a classic video game reference, and my brain, like, it restarts. Like, it's a quick reboot. Now I'm ready. We're going to see a Fate, Committee Meeting, and Fruit of Life. I could definitely see a Committee Meeting being thrown on top of that top Fate right now, since Fruit of Life does a whole heaping helping of nothing. Must have been one of the bad fruits, like an orange. Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to start arguments. I don't like oranges. I don't even like the color orange. It's like my least favorite color. And let me tell you, I don't like the fruit. Apples? I'll take apples all day. We're going to see the Magi activated. He's going to draw 3. He's going to discard 2. Ritsuko will then have him draw another 2. A net gain of 3 cards. Gendo can draw when he wants to. He can get loaded up. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, tell me what your favorite and least favorite fruit are. My least favorite is probably orange. Of the fruits that I've eaten, there are some more out there fruits that I've just never eaten. Like, I don't think I've ever etten a kiwi before. I don't know if that would taste good or not. But orange, of the fruits that I've eaten, that I'm like, yeah, it sucks. Orange, number 1. Ugly color. Another Mannequin Soldier with Promised Day really hurts. That sucks. It is going to have some Mannequin Soldiers all set up for Central City, at least, when a Transmutation Token or the Philosopher's Stone gets there. But, yeah, that's my least favorite. And then favorite... Ooh, and there's the Philosopher's Stone that was spoken of in the prophecies that I spoke just moments ago. The prophecy I just made. Look at me go. I've realized I don't know what my favorite fruit is, by the way. So, you know, maybe by the foot. If I had to pick. Oh, an immediate Fate from Kidjays here. We're going to see Scar come out. I believe we saw something very similar to this in the first game. Scar immediately being played here straight into danger. Greed can be used to immediately vanquish him thanks to the Philosopher's Stone, but that will use up Greed and thus make it more difficult to get that Transmutation Token down, which can now not be placed because Scar will have to be dealt with. We're going to see Misato played out to Command Center. Interesting. And it looks like Koretex is just going to go and immediately use most likely Greed here. I think he has to, or he has to use some Mannequin Soldiers with Envy to get rid of Scar. And he actually is going to do Envy plus the Mannequin Soldiers, keeping that 4 strength Greed there. Quite interesting considering, well, it does get the Mannequin Soldiers out of here and it puts Envy back in, so that's fair. I do find it a little surprising since Envy plus 2 Mannequin Soldiers was actually worth more strength than 1 Greed when the Philosopher's Stone was in play. I believe the Mannequins plus Envy equaled up to 5, while Greed equaled up to 4. Father's Throne being played, immediately throwing back in Pride, getting him shuffled in. Very good. Definitely want him back in there. Want to see him and Wrath coming out soon. I believe Wrath is either in the deck or in Koretex's hand, because I don't remember ever seeing him. So he should be. We're going to see Gendo going over to Nerve Headquarters, gaining 3, which is going to trigger military strategy and pause the clock. This means that Father will get to draw 2 cards and then discard 2. We're going to see a Mannequin Soldier go. And what else are we going to see? We're going to see Equivalent Exchange go. 2 0-cost cards that really won't be doing that much for Father anytime soon. Nerve Artillery setting up the tanks for the inevitable arrival of the Angels, as well as a Nerve tank itself. Very understandable, getting ready to deal with whatever Angel gets played either by Red Alert, which, if one gets played by Red Alert, we haven't seen Third Impact yet, or gets played by Adam before too long. Father going straight to Xerxes, not really worrying about the Fate pressure that he's well known for all that much, instead focusing on just gaining a lot of power and trying to do a little bit of blitzing his objective. He is 1 power short, unfortunately, of being able to activate whatchamacallit. He got Flask. He was probably looking for an ally there to be able to get the Star War off by playing it to Greed, which is very unfortunate to pull Flask there. I'm telling you, Flask, worst of the items. Should have discarded it earlier. Should have, I am an enemy of human energy, and I don't want to say I'm an enemy of Flask. Flask and I, we just have a complicated relationship. I feel like he doesn't help me out as much as I wish he could. But, I'm definitely on the side of Father's Throne and True Alchemy, which I occasionally forget the name of. But, you know, if there are lines to be drawn on who's on what side there, let it be known where my lines are. We're going to see Envy played, considered playing it to Lior to deal with Mei Chang, but instead just stacking him up with Greed with the Philosopher's Stone, getting another 3 strength there for the cost of 2 power to weaken the cost for the Starter War here. Kidjays is, oh, it's not his turn yet. Oh, because the Flask is being used. That's what's happening. My mistake, my mistake. I don't think that was supposed to be shuffled yet until he needed to draw. But it probably doesn't matter, because Mei Chang is already in play. Oh, it wouldn't have mattered even, because Mei Chang shuffles, right? So yeah, it wouldn't matter either way. And I believe we also saw Wrath thrown in there and reshuffled. Very fair. Terminal Dogma. Going for that top fake Gendo is Double Umbra Circle. That'll be 2 power, sir. Do not pass go. Pay your toll. Yeah, gain 2 power. That's a good play. Have Umbra Circle do the reverse of what it does. We're going to see the Magi activated. What a shock. I'm starting to think that Kidjays is on the side of the Magi. And I'm here to tell you, once again, if we're drawing lines, I'm also on the side of the Magi. Down with Sector Lockdown, up with the Magi. Those are the next lines that I'm going to draw. This is a new initiative I'm starting as a member of the Annabelle team. Or as a lead of the Annabelle team now. I got to get used to saying I'm a lead now, because I am a lead now instead of just a member. A little bit more than that now. But as a lead, this is my new initiative. Finding out what cards you're on the side of and against in decks. What cards you're like, no, this card isn't for me. But this card, I would die for this card. I would do whatever this card asked of me. True Alchemy says transmute. I say how much. No chance of denying. I was going to say no questions asked, but I immediately asked a question of how much. You can tell that I've been commentating for roughly 7 hours today. It do be that way sometimes. I'm sorry if you heard my chair squeak just there. I was repositioning myself. Pride getting shuffled in, immediately followed by a Promised Day, and getting another Mannequin Soldiers. That reshuffle hurts. That reshuffle hurts. Yes! Put back in the True Alchemy. Never let it leave your heart, for it is there when you need it most. We're going to see a Fate, which is probably going to, I don't know, mass product at Terminal Dogma or Betrayal on Misato. It looks like it's going to be Betrayal on Asuka, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, getting Asuka out of there. So now Gendo will have to get her back into play somehow down the road if he wants to make use of her and her combo with Ava O2. Or this might just make Gendo pivot entirely to utilizing Shinji and Rei. But Rei loses fights a lot in the anime, I think, and Shinji doesn't like getting in the robot. So, I don't know. I think Asuka might be... She does have that, like, 2 episodes... Spoilers. Might have those, like, 2 episodes where she has trouble, like, syncing or whatever. But other than that, I feel like she's typically the most useful. She's my number 1 pick. When I have to choose which of the kids to use. Because Shinji annoys me. Which sucks, because Shinji has the coolest-looking robot. Oh, it's Kidjays' turn. I didn't realize that the color had changed. He is moving over. I was too busy talking about my thoughts and my feelings. No, I realized it was his turn. I watched him Fate and play Hohenheim. I just didn't comment on it. But then he also clashed with Asuka there. Sorry, again, I've been going for like 7 hours today. I can feel my brain starting to be like, stop thinking. Your time for thinking today has ended. But Annabelle will continue on, and if I must push my way through, I will, whatever the cost, as Koretex decides if he does in fact want to move to Xerxes or not. And indeed he is. He'll be going there and gaining 3. And then potentially starting a war over here. He's got 4, 3, that's 7, 8. Could have started a war going for human energy instead. He might not have had war. Pride, really good pull on human energy. Still hate that card. Never works for me. I think that card has worked for me once. Literally once. And I think it gained me 1 power with, like, Sloth. Of all of the cards that I've drawn a line against, that I have declared I have started a war against, it's Human Energy. That card has burned me one too many times. Promise Day has also burned me a lot, but it also plays Wrath for me, so I give it a pass. Human Energy, it gets no pass. It never helps me enough. I'm not... Oh, Hohenheim, he was trying to use Flask, but Hohenheim is in play, so they undid that. Good catch, good catch. I was too busy talking about my war against whatever I declared war against a moment ago. Kidjays, going back to his top fate, hitting up Riza and Winry. Double the waifu threat here. We're going to see Riza come out and just add a bunch of -1s, basically negating Philosopher's Stone. Going to make it really hard to start a war there. I have realized, I think we got that double Umbra Circle. We are about to hit a reshuffle, but that means that, at least at the moment, although now it could happen on a top deck reshuffle, we don't have to worry about... Ooh, we saw a Horrible Truth played to kill something. There must have been an Angel. Was Red Alert played and an Angel was played? Or no, did we just see a Horrible Truth used to defeat Asuka? I thought Asuka was already clashed with. I completely missed what happened there, and I apologize. Again, I'm going to blame that I've been firing on all cylinders for like 6.5 hours straight. Horrible Truth appeared to have been played. Oh no, Horrible Truth was probably used and then used to do another action, to do an activate or a gain power. I don't normally see Horrible Truth used for things other than vanquishes, so I just assumed it was a vanquish, but it can be used for anything, so I apologize for that. I apologize for missing that bit there. I'm normally more on the ball than this, I feel like. We're going to see a lot of discarding being done by Father here, just getting trash out of his deck after that rough start and having to reshuffle his deck, trying to get back to setting his deck how he wants. We're going to see a True Alchemy, presumably for a Vanquish, which I think Envy or Greed could be used for, and it will be Greed, and both him and True Alchemy will be put back in, which will get rid of Riza and remove that -1. Oh, a little bit of TTS lag there. And then a Fruit of Life and Red Alert, so we will be seeing Red Alert played here. Not sure if Third Impact is readily available for Kidjays. I don't remember seeing it be discarded or not. We're going to see Zeriel be played, who will move if a Fate action is performed to any capacity, seeing Start a War shuffled back in there, and that'll be the end of his turn. Now we're going to see Gendo go to his bottom fate. We're going to see there's the Third Impact. He did have it in hand, as expected. As Gendo, you typically want to hold on to that Third Impact at least until you get Adam underway. We're going to see a Fate here, which is going to reveal Ling Yao and Mustang. So Mustang is probably going to be killing Envy here, I imagine. This has been a very rough game for Father. A surprising amount of Fate pressure from Gendo. Kidjays is playing Gendo in a very Fate-effective way. Just really keeping that pressure up on Father and preventing him from really getting anything stacked and underway. And now we're finally going to see Adam played, which means Gendo is like, all right, I've fated you enough. Now it's time to move to the command center every other turn and begin murdering all of the angels that dare oppose me. Koretex thinking hard about how he wants to move here. Man, Mei Chang has been sitting on Lior for ages, hasn't she? He probably wants to get her out of there really soon. Really soon. Could potentially, if he even gets Philosopher's Stone over, clash with Mei Chang. He might do it right here with True Alchemy to do the move action. Oh, no, wait, no. Hohenheim is ignoring items. I keep forgetting Hohenheim is out. Oh, so earlier he couldn't use Envy then because Hohenheim was out. That's why he... Or no, could he still have used... No, he couldn't have used Envy. He had to earlier use Greed. Either way, one of them would have been discarded by Mustang, but... Yeah, I understand now why he used Greed earlier. Again, I'm sorry. I'm not firing. I've been firing on all cylinders. And we're seeing an equivalent exchange thrown out against Gendo, which triggers whenever you discard an item or form from your hand or territory. Gendo will never trigger that on form, but he could discard items from his hand, potentially. And I believe the Ava's being used in a Vanquish will count as being discarded from the territory, if I'm not mistaken. Sandolphin is here. He can very easily, whether he has an Ava or not, vanquish Sandolphin this turn using Shinji and Nerve Artillery. It would be much better if he had Ava 01, however. It would be, he's going to activate Misato to play Ava 01. Interesting, instead of using the normal play and then Ava Cage to bring Ava 01 back. But that does, using that activate immediately, does let him draw 2 due to Ritsuko. And then he gets to throw out a Nerve Tank. So will we be seeing Ava 01 used here? We will indeed. That also got the reshuffle before Ava 01 went in, which was a good choice. So now he can easily target it with Ava Cage later. That does discard Ava 01 from the territory, which means equivalent exchange begins. I imagine we're going to see Shapeshifter here. It will need to be revealed to us to ensure that he doesn't try to put, Koretex doesn't try to put something in his hand that is not an item or a form, because that would be against the rules. It can't be an item, actually. All 3 items are in play, so it has to be Shapeshifter. The only 5 things it can target are 2 Shapeshifters and then Father's 3 infamous items that we have here. And I believe that is the end of Kidjays' turn, so we're back over to Koretex. I imagine we're going to see maybe an ally played to either Hohenheim or Mei Chang from Central City, immediately vanquished, and then... Oh, no, he can't do that and also Shapeshifter. But maybe just moving to Mustang and Shapeshifting, or he might be going for a Fate instead. He's actually going to go... Is he going to gain 3, have 9, Mannequin Soldiers have 1, and then have a horde of Mannequin Soldiers start a war? I would be astonished. I would clap. I would be amazed. But instead he is going to go to Fort Briggs, gain 1. We have hit the reshuffle, haven't we? Yes, so Umbra Circle is now a serious worry for Father. An Umbra Circle, when he's at around 7 power here, even still 6 power, an Umbra Circle is probably better than most heroes. Like, maybe I would only see one of the 4 strengths or Mustang being played over it, but I would probably take an Umbra Circle here over almost anything else in the Fate deck. Maybe Gate of Truth, maybe Scar, maybe Edward would be the only things I would consider over Umbra Circle, but getting rid of, I think I mentioned it before in a Father game, if you can Umbra Circle to get rid of like 2 cards, also we see Sync Failed played here, so now the kids, if attached with, whatchamacallit, will not be able to, if attached with an Ava, will not be able to be used in the Vanquish, although Kidjays is very well set up to be able to fix that. We're going to see Greed come out with the Promised Day, or are we? Wait. Oh, he had already played Sloth. He was trying to play a second card. I see what happened. Small mistake. Happens to the best of us. We're seeing Wrath get shuffled back in. But anyways, back to Umbra Circle. Umbra Circle, if you can play it on Father for... I'd probably say 4 or higher would be my take. QA might say differently. Oh, that's... If there's a... If there is a horrible truth in play here, that's I was gonna say Ava. That angel is getting very dead. Very dead. Nerve tanks and nerve artillery can take it out and get rid of Synchro failed. We're gonna see Ray played. If an item is played, then Gagil will move. Are we gonna see Horrible Truth now? No, we're gonna see Fruit of Knowledge probably looking for the Horrible Truth. I thought we might see a Horrible Truth here and use Ray as the sacrifice. Or potentially use Ritsuko or Misato as the sacrifice, and then use, like, the Nerve Tank plus either Rei or Shinji. I could have seen it going any way. Any which of those ways. And I believe, now that Fruit of Knowledge has been resolved, that is going to be all from Kidjays. Indeed it is. What is Koretex going to do? He is not rife for choice. He has to move to a location where a hero is covering. He does have Shapeshifter in his hand to potentially use. He's going to go to Xerxes, gain 3, and I assume spend a good chunk for Start a War. He is indeed. It should cost, this should be 3, and then plus 2 from Philosopher's Stone because of 2 allies, so that's going to be 5. So it will cost him 5 to play. I believe, was he at 7? I believe he was at 7. And just spent, oh, no, wait, no, it cost him more than that because Hohenheim is in play. My brain cannot function that Hohenheim is in play. So it actually cost him 7 there because only Sloth was at 3. My mistake. My apologies. And then what are we going to see from Gendo here? Probably Gagil being absolutely slaughtered. Misato activating to put down another Nerve Artillery, which is going to let him draw 2 through Ritsuko. Once again, if he remembers to do so. Oh no, changing his mind, actually. Instead doing the Vanquish with Shinji and a Nerve Tank. Honestly, I probably... Oh, Shinji and the Nerve Artillery, even. Interesting. I probably would have used the Nerve Tank there, but otherwise, I think I would have done the same thing. And that does get rid of Sync failed because Shinji did not have an item equipped. Equipped. What am I playing? Yu-Gi-Oh? Attached. I think I need to go to bed after this game. I've been talking too much today. But you know, I can't exactly complain. It is my job. So, I'm sure other people have to do more intensive jobs than I do. Talking is most likely one of the easier ones. What are we seeing? Is he needing to draw 2 because of Ritsuko or something? Forgot to? Oh no, I think we're good. I'm not sure what that tab was for. I think we're good. Father, aka Koretex, is going to go over to Fort Briggs, gain 1, True Alchemy to vanquish Mustang using Sloth. Sloth couldn't be moved from Central City, so good call to get him back in there to potentially be played later. Mustang will not be coming back for a while because the reshuffle is far off. We're going to see a red alert, which is going to stop Gendo from getting that 3rd token. 2 3s. Gendo, in that first game, had 2 of the 5 strengthers come out, and that was rather rough to deal with. This time, Gendo is having a lot of 3 strengthers come out, and it's working very well in his favor. Ramiel will only move if Gendo gains 2 or more power. I always have to remind myself what most of them do. I have like 4 of the angels memorized because I see them a lot. Like, Zariel is Fate Actions, Ariel is Discard, Armisael is Draw, Tabris is any card played. I remember all of the 5s very easily because they cause pain and suffering. And I think Sachiel, which is like the 3 strength, like first episode one, I think if you gain no power, he moves. But I might be mistaking that with a different angel. You never know. You never know. We're going to see Fate here. Oh, Umbra Circle, a little late. A little late, but honestly, if it's going to be a little late, it's good for it to happen for Scar. Going to double block that top Fate and just throw Scar down there to prevent a token from being played there, and also just block that action for a good long while. Mei Chang is still there. Did she even go to Lior in the show? I don't think she did, but she's still there. We're seeing Misato activated to spend 1 to put the Ava on Ramiel. I believe Ramiel is going to be moving. No, he's not going to be. I'm thinking of the one I was just talking about who moves when you gain no power. He's not gaining any power, so Ramiel will not move. And he can very easily do the Vanquish action on Ramiel before getting 2 next turn to make sure that he's lined up with Ray. Purpose of Nerve being thrown out just to gain some extra power down the line. Gendo is getting a little low on the coffers there. Asking Nerve to give him more funding. For that is, in fact, their purpose, which will happen right now. Man, they got that funding through really fast, which does move Ramiel. I'm not sure if Kidjays thought about that. I forgot that that would happen. That is going to make vanquishing him next turn a little bit of a problem. Gonna be a wee bit of a problem. May have been better not to have played that. I do wonder if he had realized or not. We're gonna see Wrath come out and immediately be used to kill Scar and then put back into the deck. Sometimes that's what's Wrath. That's what. I'm going to try that sentence again. Sometimes that's what Wrath has to do as one of the strongest homunculi. Maybe the strongest? It's got to be like him or Pride, right? I mean, they're both at 4 strength. They're the strongest in this deck, so you know. I'd put my money on Wrath. I think Wrath would be able to just tear Pride to shreds with his swords play. I guess it depends on how much shadow access Pride has because he becomes stronger depending. Command Center, are we going to see him move Ramiel again on purpose? He's going to activate Misato first before Ramiel can move to play Asuka, and then use his normal... He's going to gain 2 to move Ramiel and use his normal play to put out an Ava on Asuka. Oh, no, he did not have the Ava. That's very unfortunate. Ava 01 or... Oh, no, wait, no, he might. No, he did have the Ava. He was drawing for Ritsuko. I thought it was ending his turn. My turn? His turn. So, very good recovery on getting rid of Ramiel there. Or maybe that was the plan all along. Maybe that was the plan all along. There's no way to know unless he tells us later on. Gonna see Father going to Fort Briggs, gaining 1. Really needs to get Mei Chang out of here. She's been in Lior for so long. He needs that top Fate back. And he's gonna throw down Sloth exactly to handle that. Another red alert that's very unfortunate for Gendo is he's desperately trying. I don't know if this last card is red alert. I don't remember. Ariel, my favorite of all the angels, triggers on being discarded. I need another drink of water. First, get over here and make sure we give us a wide shot. Make sure I don't miss anything. I'm sorry, I desperately need a drink of water. Ah, there we go. Very nice. Note to self, attempt not to schedule Anvil games for right after you did a 4-hour stream, if possible. And that will be the end of Father's turn. You see Gendo go over here. He probably wants to try to avoid discarding here to keep Ariel right there. Or he could Horrible Truth. He's going to play a Nerve Artillery. And he's going to throw out Marduk Institute, so no discarding should be happening. He is well poised to defeat Ariel on his turn by just going to the command center. And barring True Alchemy, which might be happening right now, Father can't Fate. We're going to see a True Alchemy? Dude, one of the best cards in the game. One of the best cards in Father's deck. One of the best cards in anime Villainous. That is going to trigger Marduk Institute, which will allow Father to throw out an ally so long as he pays their cost. And that does move Ariel because the scheme is being discarded. I had not considered that. Those Gendo schemes caused him a lot of problems right now. But he recovered very well from the Purpose of Nerve scheme proc, if it was even a recovery or if it was not just what he wanted. So I believe that he is very capable of recovering or working with this Ariel movement. Are we going to see a red alert? The last card was Seal Interference. We're going to see Sync failed here. That hurts. That hurts with Ariel out right there. Ooh. Ooh, that is painful. That is very, very, very painful. What is Kidjays going to do in this situation? What is he going to do now? Just go to a Fate spot to get some Fate going? He can't use... He doesn't have to worry too much about Ariel moving one location because he'll still be in range of the Nerve Artillery. But he needs to get more tanks and artillery out to deal with Ariel now since Sync failed came out at a very unfortunate time for him. We're going to see him fading Father because Father's cleaned up a lot of his territory. Ah! The happy couple. Of course, Edward is much more powerful here, so we will see him being played and then an automail grabbed from the discard. Checking to see if there's one there, or checking to see if there's only one in there, then that means automail should be grabbed from the deck probably. Although, honestly, an automail coming out of the deck and onto Hohenheim right now could be very destructive. That did move Ariel because he discarded Winry during the Fate action. Still in range of the... He might even want to move that Nerve Artillery over. We're going to see Sector Lockdown played. Interesting. And that will be the end of his turn. Father is now going to be going back over to Fort Briggs, just trying to keep a good little bit of Fate pressure, as we call it, going here to dig to more red alerts to really just put Kidjays behind, although he needs to be a little careful. If he hits enough red alerts, Kidjays might decide that it's just worth it to get Ariel out of there with a third impact. It might already be worth it to get Ariel out of there with a third impact, although it won't get rid of Sync failed. I do worry with Gendo stalled on getting his third token here, and Father only having one transmutation token out and basically no allies in play, along with Edward and Hohenheim out, that we may see another game go to time here, although the previous game that went to time was just by the thinnest of margin because Cell would have won the following turn. Getting Greed out there. Unfortunately, the Philosopher's Stone does not make Greed strong enough to defeat Edward so long as Hohenheim is in play. Hohenheim must be dealt with first for that to work out. 2 mass production Avas, probably on the top Fate, probably on the top Fate. That's where they normally end up. In my experience, they go there a lot. And now we're going to see Gendo move to Nerve Headquarters. And gain 3. Going to be throwing out Legacy of Gahern to potentially put an item of his choice into his hand. His only form is Adam, which he does not want put into his hand. I don't think he can even grab Adam, can it? Yeah, it's deck or discard pile, not territory. Can't even use that for Adam. I didn't see what he did there. Oh, he's playing Fruit of Knowledge. Looking at basically the end of his deck, I believe he has 7 cards there. He's looking at 6 out of those 7. Trying to figure out what he wants to keep and what he doesn't. Look at this. Look at, he's got 3 cards at every location, at least at the bottom. The top changes it a bit, but look at this layout. Look at this squad of Evangelion. And then we're back over to Koretex. He's going to be going straight to Central City, gaining 2, playing another ally potentially to have it and Greed defeat Edward here. Or maybe even if he has Wrath or Pride, using it to get rid of Hohenheim. He really needs to get rid of Hohenheim here. Although he could actually use Pride to get rid of Edward. It would cost all 4 power, and it looks like that's what he's doing. Pride being played to Greed to get rid of the automail. So Pride can discard Greed here to stay in play, but defeat Edward. But it will lead to Greed being discarded, probably back into the deck. Moving over the Mannequin Soldier. The Mannequin Soldier, unfortunately, cannot be used for Pride here because there's no transmutation token, and Hohenheim is still turning off the Philosopher's Stone. Not vanquishing Edward. Perhaps wanting to make sure he gets the token first, despite the automail making it more expensive. Kidjays is in a rough position here. He's ahead in progress, most definitely. And surely because of that, he wants to just try and close the game out and win. But it's becoming very difficult. Maybe shouldn't have played Nerve Tanks there, because if you're fading, you're going to move Ariel. Probably at this point want to, Terminal Dogma, and then move over the Nerve Artillery, I imagine is what's going to happen. No, it looks like he's going to stick with that. He needs to, he can multi-fate, actually. If he multi-fates, then he shouldn't be discarding a fate card, so that should be fine. He's going to move the Nerve Artillery, however, in case Ariel does move. And are we going to see a multi-fate? He's deciding to play... He's realizing now that that will happen, so he's playing Nerve Tanks to Terminal Dogma and moving Nerve Artillery over. So that way, when he probably discards Riza here, he doesn't have to worry about the loss. Oh, he's playing Riza, actually, to make it where Pride can't defeat Ed. Honestly, I respect that play. I respect that play. I feel like I probably would have still, to keep the top fate covered longer term, might have played Armstrong, but Riza, honestly, that might just be straight up the right play there. He probably made a better play than I would have made there, to be quite honest. It is looking rough for Koretex. He is having a rough time digging himself out of this situation. Hohenheim turning off all 3 of his in-play items is very difficult, and now Edward making everything cost 1 more, really just insult to injury. And the Riza is very poorly timed here, unfortunately, making it even harder to get rid of Edward. Probably should have looked at defeating Edward last turn before something like this could happen, but I imagine he wanted to really focus on getting that transmutation token because he's having a rough go of getting them all out. Sync failed plus Ariel has really slowed down. We're going to see a True Alchemy to do the Vanquish. He's going to do a Vanquish now. We're going to see Pride probably kill Riza. I think it has to be Riza here, because Pride is at 3 strength. So Edward cannot be defeated. Or he could just use Greed straight up, because I think Greed is at 2. He doesn't even need to use Pride. Oh. How did he do that? And I think he forgot about Hohenheim again. Yeah, he has to get rid of Riza here. It's his only option. And then a Fate. Red Alert. There's a Red Alert. I don't know how many are in the discard right now. I think 1 is in the discard. So this is the second one in the discard. You could put Ariel at 7. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. Iriel, when an activate is done. And then Sachiel. Yeah, when Gendo ends his turn without gaining power, move Sachiel. I remembered Sachiel. Chad, are you proud of me? Put in the comment section right now with this timestamp that you're proud of me, if you're proud of me. Or if you're watching this premiere live, just say it in the premiere. Are we potentially going to see if he even has it? Because it'd be easy to cycle to it. And that was an activate, which moves Iriel, words. Are we going to see a third impact? Third impact will not get rid of Sync failed, but it will, he's drawing because of Ritsuko right now. It will get both of these out. We're going to see a Vanquish on Ariel to make the... To get rid of Ariel and to get rid of Sync failed. So now the kids with their giant fighting mech robots can get back in on the action. And then we're going to see another Nerve Tank played because I believe he still had his play action. So he's just preparing to get rid of that mass production Ava down the road. Father going over to Central City, gaining 2. He could just ditch Pride here to get rid of either Edward or Hohenheim. Honestly, the automail sucks, but I might... Oh, that triggered? Legacy of Gahern must have triggered, so he's going to get to choose an item from his deck or discard and put it in his hand, probably. I was about to say either Ava 01 or Ava 02. Honestly, at this point, I would probably deal with Hohenheim first, but also dealing with Ed is a good call. Oh, he's got Gluttony, so he's going to deal with Ed for sure. And then probably move over either Gluttony or Pride. So, even without the Philosopher's Stone, the Pride Gluttony combo... Oh, he didn't move either of them. Did he already use his move action? Oh, no, wait, no, they just froze time. I'm not sure what is being checked here. Maybe I missed something that made that an illegal move, but I believe that should have been a legal move. Gluttony's at 1. Pride's effect needs a hero at 1 strength. He paid 2 for Gluttony because Edward had automail out. They must have just been double checking something, but I think we're good. We're back in. Okay, we're good. We're good. That was fairly short, so I doubt I'll edit that one out. And then I believe... I think he still has his move action. He really needs to move Pride into position to get rid of Hohenheim. I know that he wants a transmutation token at Lior, but I believe waiting on these transmutation tokens have been... He's going to wait. I believe waiting on those transmutation tokens might be part of what's causing him to struggle so much instead of clearing his territory. Probably going to... Yep, an automail. Worth more putting an automail on there than going for the Umbra Circle, for sure. We're going to see him also move over Ray and Ava 1, and then a Horrible Truth to immediately get rid of Uriel, which means on his turn, goodbye, Kozo, thank you, the Horrible Truth is what you're best for, is, I said that like Kozo isn't a good card. Kozo is a great card, because he can help you with a quick scheme activate, and then also just be there for when you need Horrible Truth. But that's a really important thing. Being there for Horrible Truth is one of the most important things in Gendo's deck, in my opinion. But now Gendo will be... He's finally cleared out his Angels. He got rid of his challenge. He will be, unless he gets hit with a Red Alert here, which I think there's one or maybe... There's at least one, maybe 2 in here. He will be getting his 3rd token and taking a step closer to Showdown, and he can move to his Vanquish location on his turn. We're going to see a Promise Day and get Sloth. Very good. Super stacking Lior. Leaving Sloth at Lior when he starts moving his other characters will work quite well, because then Sloth can defend it, especially if he gets rid of Hohenheim to be able to make use of Philosopher's Stone there. Oh, we're freezing time. Did he not have enough power to play Promise Day because of automail? I thought he had 2. Did he not have 2? I think they're agreeing that he did. I think he had 2. I mean, you can see in the video evidence because this is recorded. And it looks like we're good. We're still in. Again, that was really short. I probably just won't even cut that out. Mostly because this video is so long, I'm already going to have to be cutting out so much stuff. We're going to see a Red Alert and a Fruit of Life. Fruit of Life is going to either play Matariel or Shamshell. I don't know if that was the last Red Alert. If that was the 3rd Red Alert, Gendo, it's unfortunate that he couldn't get his last token out here, but he's actually in a really good position if he can just quickly get rid of Matariel. If he has an ally to play by moving there and vanquishing, if I were him, I wouldn't worry about fading at all. He can't fade even. His top fade is blocked. But if he could just get rid of Matariel this turn, there might be one more Red Alert in here, but I think they've all 3 passed. He has plenty of time to just clean up Showdown and all. This could be where Kidjays goes for his victory. Nope, he's just going to get rid of the mass production. Probably didn't have the option to play an ally to get rid of Matariel. What does Matariel move? When he moves an item. Not something that happens often. We're going to see an activate to put Ava 01 on Shinji. And then drawing 2 thanks to Ritsuko. We're going to see Marduk Institute come out. And that will be Kidjays' turn. He's trying to click the clock. There he goes. What are we going to get here? Father is going to move over to Central City, gain 2. Are we going to see some moves and some vanquishes? You see Gluttony moved over, vanquish on Hohenheim. Gluttony replays himself to that location. Sloth gets shuffled back in. that is going to trigger Marduk Institute, but it will finally get rid of Hohenheim and Automail, and Father at long last has an open territory. His items are all back on, and he's got Pride and Gluttony out, only a location away from each other, which is a very strong setup for Father. The problem is can he catch up, especially now that a Nerve Artillery is being played to be able to be used against Matariel? Can he catch up before Gendo gets that last token and closes out Showdown? It really depends on if there is another red alert in here, which I quite honestly just cannot remember. I think there might be one more in there. I know we have at least seen 2 pass. Koretex really needs there to be one more in there. We're going to see Envy get shuffled back in with Father's Throne now that it's finally turned back on. But Koretex really needs there to be one in there, or he needs to take advantage of this open territory to quick shuffle. However, once again, Koretex, his methodical play is coming back to bite him a little bit. He's taking some long methodical turns, and his timer is running low. So he needs to make sure he gets use of it. And then we're going to see Shapeshifter move Gluttony back to set up with Philosopher's Stone for the token play. What will we see from Gendo here? Going straight for a Fate, wanting to cover back up that top Fate. Alphonse and Gate of Truth, both pretty good plays here, I would say. Father really can't afford to be paying the power to get rid of Gate of Truth right now. But Alphonse could potentially hit some good stuff. Envy was just shuffled back in. I don't know where Wrath is. It would also get rid of Shapeshifter. But it looks like he's just going to go for Gate of Truth and then go back to his focus on just trying to close out his own game. Oh, wait, he's reconsidering. He's reconsidering, and it looks like he's changed his mind to Alphonse. Oh, he can't really block the top Fate, right? Well, he can block the top Fate, but Gluttony and Pride are set up to insta-kill if he does. And we're going to see Alphonse cover Xerxes, cover that double play, cover the Flask location. He's going to pull out 8 of Father's cards and reveal them, and any allies that he doesn't like the look of, he can send them to the Shadow Realm. Greed is going to go, Lust is going to go, and Wrath. That hurts. That hurts. That is a very painful thing, especially when Koretex is already at Father's Throne currently, so he more than likely, without some kind of True Alchemy play, will not be able to make use of it next turn. What are we going to see next from Kidjays? Does he have any plays to do? He's going to throw down another Purpose of Nerve. That being triggered will not move Matariel. He will be able to defeat Matariel on his turn. Again, I don't know if we have one more red alert in there or not, but this could be the beginning of the end where Gendo reaches the point where he quite simply cannot be stopped. Also, Purpose of Nerve is going to trigger and give 2 power. We're going to see a Starter War thrown down for however much cost that was. It should be 5, 7, 8. It should have cost 2. I think he had exactly 2 because he's a 0 now, so I assume he was. That's going to be the second token. He's got to get a lot of moving around done. I believe that Butter is just double-checking the math there to make sure it's right. Fruit of Life and Seal Interference? Honestly, here I'd probably put one of those 5 strengthers back on top that we saw earlier, Ariel. Although Tabris is pretty... I think Armisail and Tabris are both in here, actually. So you might just want to take the 66% chance and instead Seal Interference. Now, he's going to go with Ariel to be super safe. We might have seen Armisail or Tabris pass earlier, but I don't think we did. But he's just going to be super safe and ensure that Ariel is the one in there. Butter's double-checking that that's the top one, rather than trying to shuffle back in Ava 01 or some such. And now we're going to see Kidjays go over and use his Nerve Tanks plus Artillery to defeat Matariel, which means next turn, accidentally putting the Angel in the Fate discard. That happens sometimes. We're going to see an Activate of Misato, which will play another Nerve Tank, setting up for whoever comes up next, and then getting to draw 2 because of Ritsuko. I really cannot remember if there's another Red Alert in here. If there is not another Red Alert here, even if it is Ariel who comes out, it will be quite easy, I feel, for Gendo to get rid of Ariel and assure his victory, essentially. But now Father really does need to bounce between his 2 Fates, which is going to make it hard to get move actions going, although he does have True Alchemy to help with that one immediately. It's going to make it harder to get move actions going. This is why you always shuffle back in True Alchemy and build up the power, because he still has 2 tokens to play. But Gluttony and Pride are a really good combo to try and make it work. We're going to see Mass Production Ava and Betrayal here. Tough choice. Honestly, I think I would cover the top Fate as well, because he needs to keep pressure and not get faded back much in return. My throat is getting really scratchy again. I've been talking too much today. I'm sorry, I'm going to go quiet a minute for more water. Let me scroll out so that we got a wide shot. I apologize. Oh my goodness. This is the biggest drink of water I had in a while. Third token obtained for Gendo. Ariel is in the game. He's here. If he could discard something here, which he is, but he discarded Horrible Truth? He could have played Horrible Truth here. He has the other one. He's just doing a double whammy. Interesting. I probably would have kept an extra Horrible Truth just in case he really needed it for Showdown. But that is going to get rid of Ariel, and unless there is a red alert among these, I'm not sure what they're double checking. They used Horrible Truth, got rid of Nerve Tanks to proc it to use the Vanquish, and then Ava 01 with Shinji was 4, and Ray made 5. Butter was probably just double checking the math to make sure everything's on the up and up. So unless there is a red alert still in here, and it's also possible that it could be the bottom card, then Gendo will enter Showdown, and if he has a single ally in his hand, he will be able to go here, play it, and vanquish the mass production Ava and end the game. There was one red alert. They were all still in there. We did not miss one passing earlier. And there's Tabris. That play right there might determine that this game goes to time, which is in Kidjays' favor if it does. Koretex really needs to pick up the speed on his turns. When you get down to your last 5 minutes, you really need to, even if you end up making a mistake here and there, unless you know you're near the end of your game, you probably, this is all conjecture from me because I've never played Villainous, let alone anime Villainous with a chess clock like this, you probably need to be looking at just playing real fast on some of your turns because you need to save time so you don't just have your clock end on you at the very end. We are seeing a scheme resolve, which has stopped the clock, to put Ava 01 back in hand to help deal with Tabris. It is possible with that Ava 01 that Tabris could end up being defeated this coming turn. Although I'm not, maybe not. Too many play a card actions. They'd have to play the Ava 01, which would move Tabris, and play something else, which would move it again. Maybe putting it Asuka. If he has a 2-strength, ally, guess he doesn't, or he doesn't see it. A 2-strength ally played there, and then the Ava put on Asuka could have defeated Tabris there, and essentially assured his showdown outside of a really bad shuffle. Probably going to see Edward played here, covering that top fate so that Pride needs to be moved back to deal with Edward, as well as just get an auto mail out there to make everything more expensive. You never want to call the game early. Anything can happen, but I do think, whether it's by time or by figuring out how to kill Tabris, that Kidjays might have this game on lock. He did play Edward and auto mail, which double moved Tabris. Probably wants to move Asuka over for when the Ava, and then play the Ava to her. As cringe, quotation marks, as it might be, as we call it when you put the kids in the wrong Ava, he's actually going to play Kozo and move over Tabris. Very interesting. Tabris is now a terminal dogma. He will not be moving anymore. Are we going to see a war, potentially? Can he afford it? 7? He'd have to spend all 4 due to automail, and he is, to start a war and get that 3rd token. He's 1 token away. Edward and Alphonse are going to make it really hard, but if he can get that last token out, he has Philosopher's Stone, so long as Hohenheim doesn't show up. He does have Pride in position at Fort Briggs. I believe this is essentially a Hail Mary by Koretex to try his best. He's also going to defeat Alphonse with Sloth. He's basically choosing to live with Edward. Although, actually, now that I look at it, Edward could be vanquished by Gluttony and Mannequin Soldiers thanks to the Philosopher's Stone here. That is going to trigger Marduk, which is going to let Kidjays get a Nerve Tank or Nerve Artillery over here. Actually going to play Ray to put the Ava on her, whether it be her own 0-0 or the 01 that he put in his hand earlier. And Koretex is down to 53 seconds. He has to take his turns very fast, but he actually does have a pretty decent chance. It's going to be hard with 0 power and with Edward, but he can vanquish Edward, actually, with the Mannequin Soldier, Philosopher's Stone, Gluttony. If he can just get Edward out of here quick, gain some power, and then get maybe one more ally out there with Pride, it could make all the difference. It could change the game. We've stopped the clock for some reason. I'm not sure if there's an issue. Whatever it was, they resolved it quickly, so once again, that will most likely not be edited out. This video is already plenty long enough. I don't think that cutting out 10 seconds is going to be the difference maker on the timestamp of this video. This is by far going to be the longest video as of now. Probably the longest video of the entire thing, I would say. Unfortunately, not able to defeat Tabris here. That really hurts. I think not being able to defeat Tabris there means we're probably going to go to time. More than likely. He probably should have played Ava 01 to Ray, vanquished the production Ava, and then played Ava 00 to Ray at this point, I would say. But not a huge deal at this point, because I think due to time, he's probably got the game on lock, which is going to be a shame because this could still go either way, but Koretex is unfortunately just taking too long. I mean, it's not even like they're both close on time. Kidjays has done way better time management. He has over 6 more minutes than Koretex. We did get a promised day into Envy, so he has 6 here now. Very possible that he could get his token out soon by going here, doing the Vanquish on Edward, gaining 2, he'd have 4. He could actually win on his turn with Starter War. And if he can do it in 8 seconds, he can do it in 8 seconds. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be possible because Gendo is going to go over here and Fate to prevent that from happening. We're going to see Umber Circle. Umber Circle is the play here. Ooh, he played Auto Mail. Could Koretex have the biggest comeback of all time and win the game in 8 seconds? Could he win the game in 8 seconds? We're going to see an artillery thrown down, so Tabris can be defeated on this coming turn. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Oh, he's promised dang. Nope, that's game then. If he didn't have the starter war there, then that will be game 2 time, which I hate the noise that thing makes. I need to see if I can ask them if we can fix that to where it doesn't do it. But that will be game. I want to see maybe Koretex will bring his hand out. He did have starter war. Unless I'm mistaken in some fashion, he could have gone here, vanquished, killed Edward with Gluttony plus Mannequin Soldiers, and then played the thing. But he didn't see it either way. Or I'm mistaken. I could be totally mistaken. I'm not sure. If I am mistaken, then please, those of you who know the game better than me, because I am not the be-all, end-all of knowledge here, let me know. But still an incredibly, incredibly close game that unfortunately went to time. I wish we could have seen it play out at the very end. But sadly, that's not what happened. But Kidjays will be taking the win by timeout here, and that will lead to him going into round 2. This means that Kidjays will be facing off against Wako as our first confirmed match for round 2. We've got 3 more matches to go before we get to those, however, as round 1 still has a few remaining. We're getting close to the second round, and I'm pumped for every oncoming match. Thanks for watching this very long video of Anime Villainous action, and I'll see you next time for more of the tournament. Until then, farewell.